Are we live? Can everybody see us? Hello?
We should be.
Hello? All right.
Hello.
Excellent.
Greetings.
We are. Wait, hang on. I don't know if we're actually live.
Two people see us.
No, we are. I can see you on stream.
Okay.
I've got the stream open.
All right, perfect.
Yep.
Welcome everybody. Episode, what is this, 7 now of Honor Bound. I appreciate everybody stopping by. We have 3 very special guests. One of them you know. Thank you, Verb, for being here for, was this like the third?
This is my three-peat.
Third or like 8th time, yeah. Well, I appreciate you being here. Kawaii, also, thank you for being here and returning to the For Honor game.
Muted,
What?
Hello, gamers.
Kawaii? Oh,
thank you.
There we go.
Thank you, Carter.
All right.
I'm here. Hello.
And then also we have Freeze, who I am very thankful also who got on here. I asked him on a whim. I'm like, I wonder if this guy would do it, and he said yes. I'm like, oh, nice. I didn't expect him to say yes, so I'm very thankful for you guys being here. So today we are going to be discussing 4 topics. Usually we do 3, so it might be a little longer than normal, but I hope you guys stick around. We're going to be talking about patch notes, and some of the impacts that it had both on the competitive community and just the game in general. We'll be talking about the new character, Jean Hu. We'll be talking about crossplay, and then we'll talk probably the most about spectator mode. I hope you guys are excited because I am excited to talk about this kind of stuff. So, Freeze, as one of the new people who are here, let's start with you when it comes to the patch notes. Let's talk about Raider and the changes. You have been credited with the death of Raider. So first of all, how does that feel to be credited with killing the Raider character?
I mean, I've been credited for killing a lot of characters apparently. So
Credited for killing Shinobi.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. It doesn't feel good. It feels like they listened to a lot of complaints in the community and then just we just go with that. Just make them shut up. Let's not try and actually fix something. Let's just appease the community. That's what it feels like to me. And I don't know. I'm against that approach in general.
Yeah.
Yo, Freeze, when's the second wind video? That's the real question.
Yeah, I was planning to do like a best feat, and I would have included that in there. I think second wind is like one of these feats. I, in general, dislike balancing around cooldowns. Like if you have an ability that's really, really powerful and you give it a long cooldown, that doesn't mean the feat isn't powerful when the guy uses it. See, that's not a balancing thing, and I think that's what they did with second wind, didn't they? They increased the cooldown by a lot, and I don't think that's balancing. It's still powerful in that very moment.
Yeah,
it still cleanses all bleed. It still cleanses all fire. And the guy sits there with almost full HP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm against that kind of balancing. So yeah, they need to look at that again.
You know, if feat is good when we were still considering it over the buff tough as nails when we didn't know it was a bug.
I'm still mad, by the way, Freeze, in the last feat video you did, you didn't include Benefaction as one of the better feats in the game.
I know. You didn't just say that once. I kept hearing it like week after week.
I will harass it. I will preach that feat until it gets buffed, damn it. I love that feat. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox now.
Okay. All right, so the changes, or before I start, if you want to see the patch notes, you can do !patch notes in the chat, and it should bring up the link if you guys want to follow along. So with Raider, Stunning Tap is obviously, it's gone. It's now Storming Tap, which is very cool. No longer stuns, stamina regenerate, or stamina damage. All of that is gone. And then he has reduced damage into for his top heavy finishers, his side heavy openers, his zone attack. So Freeze, going to you specifically, how do you feel about these changes overall? Like, is the damage nerf's good? The stunning tap nerf is obviously not probably the best. Is this a decent direction to go with Raider? Is it half and half? What do you think?
I mean, the damage reduction is pretty good. I mean, reduced damage in general. It's not just Raider that needs less damage on some of his attacks. They should just general approach, or the HP one that like everyone keeps saying. But stunning tap, like I said, I can completely understand that getting repeatedly stunned is annoying. Who wants to look at this flashing light in your face all this time? It's annoying. No, there's no way around that. So I mean, they should have just approached that and not just simply completely remove it. I think that would have been a better approach to the whole thing, because yeah, making stunts useful in general. I don't know. Do they want that? Don't they want that? I feel like they should be a little bit more consistent across all characters there. Like not just have one character that has decent stun. Like Raider had a more than decent stun, was really good, but then Shugoki has a shit stun.
Right.
So yeah,
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. So damage is good, being reduced, but stunning tap. The function of stunning tap is really what should be addressed more than just removing what it did. I can understand like what you're saying, that people get annoyed with the flashes and the effect the stunning tap has, but in terms from like a gameplay perspective, it's not like it is an insurmountable obstacle to overcome. I mean, for the most part, it's basically like fighting Shaolin in that you can block top and then react to sides pretty reliably for the most part. So Raider was picked in fours, not necessarily for his 1v1 prowess, but for his damage and for his ganks. Like I was talking with Otto about this when this dropped, and I was asking like, does anybody think that this is actually going to change his placement in fours meta? And he said the stun tap in ones really didn't land anyway, so that he didn't think it was really going to affect him that much, and I tend to agree with that. It seems like he'll still be good. Kwai, as a competitive player coming back from the game after 4 months, Smile, what are your impressions of the Raider changes from like a competitive perspective?
He's still pretty much in the same spot. His 1v1 is worse, but his 1v1 was already pretty bad anyway. So making that worse is kind of annoying to see, because his 1v1 was essentially pretty much using your extremely heavy stam cost unblockable in order to get any sort of damage, right?
Mhm.
Other in ones anyways, or using your dodge attack into a 400 ms light, which was hard to block because you were stunned, as a like defensive option, which was like a defensive option that flowed into an offensive option, right? It's like you punish your bash with stunning tap, and then you might get your next light. You can start going into like a chain, and stunning tap might land if they don't have indicators, maybe. Again, and so you sort of chain that, but with that gone, it's mostly just like, hey, I stunning tap on reaction to a bash, and then my 400 ms light afterwards is pretty easy to block because it's only in two directions, because the doing it from top makes it like what, 600 ms, something like that. It's like really slow from top, his second line chain. So yeah, he's pretty much in the same spot though. He's very big on, I could punish people in team fights, and then I could chain that punish into hyper armor, or I could chain that punish into a big zone.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, same spot for team fights. He still has the charge for ganks. It's not as good as it was because, obviously that was nerfed a while ago. But in terms of 4v4, he's pretty much in the same spot.
Okay. Yeah, so his main pick was because of his damage and his gank. So even though his damage was nerfed, what he brings to the table with his gank and the hyper armor traits that he can do really doesn't affect his placement too much. We'll probably still see him in the Force meta. Oh yeah, go ahead, Verb.
Yeah, I also want to mention some somewhat breaking news as of recording / streaming this. There is also there's going to be a couple one of these we'll be talking about today, but there has been a unaddressed, unintentional change to Raider in that it's been recently discovered his chain zone, if you eat it and you've got stamina, it's a free GB. Yay! So his ones is even more buggered completely, because if you just want to eat the chain zone and you've either got a ledge next to you, or if you can put him out of stamina or he goes out of stamina, I should say, throwing the chain zone, you've just got a free out of stamina throw punish.
Yeah.
So hopefully, of course, that was not intentional. That'll get fixed. But as of right now, Raiders Wands is in an even worse spot, because one of his better tools, that being the unblockable pressure, it no longer has any pressure. Like, it's dead. Press F.
Yeah. I don't know. When he originally was reworked, didn't his neutral zone count the same? Like it was unsafe on
Yeah,
hit?
it was his
before you were-
neutral zone, which doesn't make any sense. Like
Yeah.
for some reason, like I first I was thinking, I didn't think about this till now. I thought it was his neutral zone that was bugged again, because
Yeah.
that would make sense. But
It's exactly what happened. When I heard that first, I just tested the neutral zone and I thought, no, someone lied to me again. And like, 2 days later, 2 days later, someone told me, oh, it's the combo zone. Like, what? Why the combo? How could that be? It just changed the damage. How can the recoveries change?
Yeah, I don't. There's something weird with that. Go ahead, Verb.
Oh, sorry, production stuff, but Freeze, your camera focus is being a bit funny. It does look like you're on a witness protection program right
does.
now.
Oh,
So
really?
could you
I can-
affect your focus level to see if it's like
I have
proper?
a really cheap one.
All right.
So,
I saw people in chat talking about it, and I just looked at the stream, and it was
yeah,
like, oh,
I've been
that-
asked why I'm
excellent.
censoring you, which I don't know. I promise
yes,
I'm not.
witness protection.
Yeah.
Is
he
that-
looks too
There we are.
much like Gordon Ramsay. We might get sued.
please don't shut my stream down, please.
Just see a really small picture there.
Yeah. Okay. So, Verb, to you, have you? What are your thoughts on these changes? And like, I know you play a decent amount of MM. Have you seen a difference in matchmaking, or when you've watched scrims?
Well, I've seen a dramatic downtick in Raider play to start with. Like, I have seen not as much Raider as I did before, even from the people who I'd usually associate Raider with, like, occasionally, like, Philomanjaro. I see him in the chat, for example. I know him, he plays a decent bit of Raider, even though he mains, like, tons of things. I haven't seen him play Raider that much, if at all. And on top of that, the changes made to Raider himself, I feel like it was kind of a, oh, my arm is a bit damaged, let me amputate levels of over severity. It feels like the core problem people were having with Raider was they were having the flashlight problem, too much of just stun, 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 stun. But Raider needed the stun, so perhaps maybe they could have done a more incremental approach of either separating the stamina damage from the stun element. Because right now, of course, stamina damage is intrinsically tied to the stun property of you get stunned, you lose X amount of stamina. But they didn't, I guess, maybe have an easy way of like separating those two, or maybe putting diminishing returns on the stuns. It was like, fine, we'll just axe the stun, get rid of it, goes in the dumpster, we'll worry about it later. And that does technically get rid of the problem, but you've also thrown the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
So I really do hope they take a second look at these changes, because yes, they've accomplished the goal, but they also went a little bit too far. So hopefully they go back and look at the storming tap changes now. Oh god, that was interesting to talk about on the season stream.
Yeah.
Do you actually think they will? They've gone so far as to renaming the move.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna look at that
true.
again.
I think they will
stun.
if they can figure it out, because as we've learned over the years, For Honor development is very much the Wallace and Gromit gif of put the tracks down as you're going. It's like they couldn't do spectator until the dedicated servers were done, for example. So, like, I imagine there's some sort of intrinsic problem with stunned where they can't separate out the bloody values. So I imagine if they were to somehow figure that out in the future, then we might see them look back at stunning tap. But right now, and especially at the, let's be honest, glacial pace that For Honor balancing is done, we ain't seeing that for a while, Chief.
Yeah. So then if it's gonna take them, or it takes them a while to do stuff, I feel like something as simple as, like you were saying, diminishing returns, like, or somebody said in chat, it'll just make it to where the flash doesn't happen like every time. Like if you get hit with them like 3 or 4 times in a row, I feel like you should get refreshed, because if you're not blocking top that many times, like I feel like that's on you. One hit, I mean, you can get away with that, because basically it's like a test reaction. I have 190 ms reaction time, which is better than average, but not that great in terms of the people who play this game at the top level. Like people like Clutch and Rave have 130 ms, but still, like you're not going to be at that point every time. Sometimes you're going to be slower because 190 is an average, so you're going to get hit like maybe once or twice. But like 3, 4, 5 times in a row, I feel like that's more on you. But I feel like Verb's idea of like diminishing returns on the stun animation would be just like a simple fix.
Yeah, the next thing is we already have stuns that don't last that long. Why not just try 400-500? Well, I mean, we know that works because multiple characters have reduced stun time. So let's just try that first instead of just out with it.
Yeah. It just seems like they just didn't test other things, and they just saw that there's such a huge outcry on I mean Reddit. That's pretty much the only place I really saw the most, and they just like, okay, we'll just axe it because so many people hate it or think it's a problem, instead of like testing levels. Like, this is what I expected the testing grounds to be, is them to test different tiers, if you will, of changes. Like, okay, we'll put Raider on the testing grounds and we'll see like if his stun is like freeze set, like 400 ms, 500 ms, something like that, or diminishing returns, like Verb said. Instead of just axing it completely, use the testing grounds, which is what you kind of promulgated as the place to test upcoming changes. Like, actually use that to test these changes instead of, well, just like Verb said, amputate, because, well, everybody thinks this is a problem, let's just get rid of it. Like, why not use something that you put in place to test these things?
And the complaints will come back, because Centurion, his punch also has it, and he can light punch now. And the repeated stuns will come back. So we're gonna have the same complaints in the future.
Don't take away from my boy Cent.
It's only 40 millisecond stun. It does nothing, but the
meta.
complaints will come back.
I'm ready for the Cent meta when Cent's already better than the 2 newly released heroes.
Yeah, Otto was playing it in scrims yesterday. He was playing Centurion.
I was playing Centurion in scrims for a while.
Oh, that's true too.
He already feels better than Yorm and Zanhu.
Yeah. Okay, so was there anything else we wanted to touch on Raider before we moved on to something different?
Nope. That's pretty much it.
Okay, so then let's talk about this is going to be very small, but I think it's somewhat important. Orochi got changes. The sprint speed obviously was great because now he's on par more with like PK, Shaman, stuff like that. So obviously that's good. But his crashing wave is his running attack, correct?
Sprinting
Yes.
attack, yeah.
That's what they call.
Wait, his sprinting attack is actually nuts. It's just that
It is.
the rest of his kit is just
Right.
so terrible
Right.
that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's
His sprinting attack is actually insane. It's like pretty close to like just the Shaman sprinting attack. It's very close to that. And it's really good at chasing people and whatnot. If they're out of lock and you're out of lock, it goes pretty far. But other than that, it's Orochi.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point I wanted to bring up, is it kind of seems like they were trying to make Orochi Shaman-esque and giving him better rotations, better chase with an improved running attack, but they decided not to touch the rest of his kit for some reason, even like small changes. I'm not 100% sure. Like, these changes are great, but like, why not go any further? Go ahead, Fred.
Freeze, were you going to mention something? Because I've got a long answer for this one specifically. But
I was
were you
just
going to
going
mention
to
something?
say, you need to remember consoles. That's it.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. You go ahead.
Listen, I'll remember console when they can win their own tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
Listen. When in 1v1s, a guy who doesn't play on controller switches to controller for like a week and a half, and then goes and wins a console LAN, then goes on to win the console 4v4 steel tourneys. I don't know what to say about console.
yeah, but it's not an invalid point. Yeah.
Moving away from depressing facts, the Orochis are specifically like, why aren't they touching anything else? Like, from my conversations with the devs, I can tell you for a fact they are 100% like locked in. They do not want to make Orochi like frustrating for console players, and they do not want to make him have any sort of bash. Like, they are locked in hard on the principle of no bashes, no unblockable stuff outside the deflect. So I imagine they're touching every dial they possibly can, but they're running out of stuff quickly outside of another rework.
Well, because there's not much else they can touch to make the character better, though, right? Like, if they're not going to add a bash, which is fine, our Ubisoft development team is very big on identity, which is why Lawbringer has a 50 damage light punish. So I get it. But they're running out of stuff to make him good. So this basically, to me, just means like if any other changes that they make to Orochi is really not going to make him that much better, and especially like above all the other characters that could be played, not just in 4s, because obviously he doesn't shine in 4s, in 1s where he's supposed to be the 1v1 specialist. Like he's not going to get anything if they're not going to give him something. Like he needs something. Like this is a good direction. This is a great direction for Orochi. I feel like this is like precursor stuff, but
there's more.
Yeah, it just needs more. For sure. Yeah, then just the biggest thing that caught me was this sounds like stuff that Shaman does. Which is why I wanted to talk about it.
The best thing I could hope for with a character like this is like maybe make his dash attack a heavy, and that would make his 1vx actually, or make it either a heavy or make it so that it's like what's the word?
Which dash attack? Dash forward, dash back, dash sides?
His all of them. Just make them all
of them.
Aim on block.
I mean, we know they can do that. They can make
you can make them
count as a heavy. So yeah.
Yeah, like make them chain on block, and that would make his 1vx marginally better. But like the character is really hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have.
Yeah, chains. Spirit attack is a chain starter that doesn't chain. Yeah, that's also a thing.
Yeah.
Like Reeves mentioned, yeah, like that should be a thing as well. Because spirit attacks being chain starters is really good because that means you can use that into the guaranteed locked off damage. So like Orochi could get that. He's chasing someone down. He uses that really good dash attack to catch the person, and then it like just destroys them, right? Because they're out of lock and facing away from him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the best things about being a chaser who has a really long range ability is that if they're out of lock and running away from you, you just deal massive amounts of damage into their back.
Yeah, Shaman says hello.
Yeah.
What do you mean Shaman says hello? Aramusha says hello.
Oh god, I keep forgetting about Aramusha exists. Oh yeah, he's got a dumb out of lock punish, doesn't he?
Don't mind my either 3 heavies or 2 heavies and a light.
Oh,
great. Yeah.
That's actually kind of disgusting to think about.
Oh, it's pretty. Aramusha is actually it's a weird thing to say, but Aramusha is actually a solid mid tier right now in competitive play.
Which
solid
is
mid tier.
It is
Return of Adamak.
Mid tier. That is what I'd say about that character. He has some very weird things, but those weird things end up helping him in a lot of situations that are involved chasing and being ganked. He is the one character in the game that probably just wants to be ganked more than anything else, because if he gets ganked, he's probably killing both of you. If he gets ganked, he gets revenge and he knocks you down. He's probably killing both of you.
Yeah, because it's 2 side heavies, right?
111.
Go what?
The revenge knockdowns, 111 or something.
Something. It's like 111 on his revenge knockdown. You can't roll away from him. If you can't react to his if you can't react to his mix-up, suddenly he gets a light. He can chain his light into his mix-up. So if you can react to his mix-up, or if you can react to If you can react to heavy fate windows, he could start going light into his finisher now. What most people do if they can react to past the fate window, what most people do is they try not to parry lights, because it's a lot easier to react to the fate window if you're not looking for specifically lights. So just block lights and then parry past the fate window on heavies. That's generally what people try and do. But if your lights are superior on block.
I want to say I wish I was educated on Aramusha stuff, but I mentally tuned out on Aramusha stuff ever since the great Reddit back and forth of those two people doing constant posts of like, no, you can like chase someone backdashing with a heavy. No, you can't. Here's the proof. Yes, you can. Like that whole like thing that lasted a week on the competitive subreddit.
That whole thing was basically until stuff got buffed. If their guard was not already top, you could buffer the feint into a buffered forward dash attack, and it all had to be buffered. And that was how you punish someone that backdashed. And then they buffed everything, so now his punish is if they backdash, you get a free side heavy, which is pretty good because side heavy does 40 damage for some reason.
Very powerful.
Cerezu, I know we've gone off track a little bit, but I do want to talk real quick about the Warlord stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
So Warlord was also in the patch notes. He basically got a lot of his recoveries dropped to lower levels, and Warlord keeps getting these small little changes in bits, like stop, start, stop, start. Funnily enough, kind of like his gameplay right now is kind of stop, start, stop, start, and that combined with the unintentional, I'm assuming, but next bug we'll talk about, which is that punch through the feet does triple damage now. It does like upwards of 50-something% on block. Warlord is low-key quite scary now.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I've actually been seeing a ton of Warlord in scrims. Like Ravas played him. Otto played him yesterday. I've seen Clutch play Warlord in scrims like a couple days ago. So he's definitely being tested. I was playing against Setmix in scrims yesterday against his BP, and I was blocking his heavies and taking 20 damage for it.
Oh, he took it on BP.
He did.
Yeah,
surprising.
He did.
It's experimental
with enhanced lights. But yeah.
So the big thing with it is that you have another pressure tool on a character that already has a good, relatively good pressure tool. That's the big thing about it. For BP specifically, because it makes it so that your heavies on block deal more damage than your bash.
That's true. I mean, because the bash it's 17 damage light, right?
Yeah, it's 17 damage light. Same thing with Warlord. And so it gives more pressure options. So that means that if they're looking for the bash, they might not look for the parry timing on the heavy, and etc., and vice versa, right? So it gives the character second ability to deal damage, and that's really good for their 1v1.
Yeah.
Warlord is the first character I think that I could safely say Ubisoft has finally buffed a character through incremental changes into relevancy. Thank you, Ubisoft finally did it. They buffed a character through incremental changes into relevancy. Congratulations, Ubisoft, you did it. After 3 years.
Yeah.
By accident.
Do we know? Do we know how much off the hand how much stamina Bash Light is on BP as opposed to the heavy? Is the heavy more stamina on block than a Bash Light?
I'm not aware of stam numbers.
No, I don't know either.
Mine are
blocked heavy should be like 42 something. What's Bash Light then? 6 for the light, and Bash costs 20 something, 24 maybe.
And so it's more stamina. So it's more stamina to use.
Get the heavy block. Yeah, I guess.
Okay. I don't think that necessarily deters it, but I'm not sure this will be something that stays. Like even with Punch Through how it is, it's probably better just to run Oathbreaker. Still.
Oathbreaker is stupid. It's the Killjoy feat. Anytime I watch or spectate scrims or in scrims, it's like someone's having a really good time. Someone's doing a 1v3. It's hype as shit. And here comes Setmix all along. You don't get to have any more fun.
Yeah.
Oathbreaker.
Yeah.
It's the Setmix feat. Just no more fun.
It's the Setmix feat.
Stop it. Stop.
Yeah.
Not allowed.
Okay. Did anybody want to comment anything else on Warlord specifically? His recoveries got better.
I want them to decrease them further, to be honest.
I'm actually liking them. They're pretty good for block recoveries. Those are
the block
really
ones,
good.
but the heavy miss ones, the heavy finish.
Oh yeah. The heavy miss ones are kind of suck, but the block recoveries are really good. It's really hard to punish Warlord in a team fight. Who's just like trying to heavy people with the chip damage because his block recoveries are pretty high. His team fight is actually really good to punch through. His zone is amazing, you know, in a team fight situation, you're getting like what? If it's 55, it's like what what's 55% of 25? It's like uh 12, 13 and something. No,
55% of
It's like-
25.
And it's like
Yeah, 13,
It's like-
14, something like 13.
yeah,
18?
13.
Probably for Honor always rounds up if you have decimal numbers, so
Oh,
you
yeah.
might get 14.
Yeah, it's well, they don't round up technically.
Well, no, they don't. No, but it displays rounded up
And
numbers.
display, yeah. You're basically getting around like 13 damage on block on an AoE attack, which has like, you know, good block recovery, good tracking, relatively good radius. You know, it's pretty good. Warlord's in a pretty good spot right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's actually you actually have to. I actually have to play differently against a warlord now, in a team fight and in a 1v1. It definitely feels better to play against them than before, where it was just I just need to dodge headbutt or something like that, which is nice to see because I mean there are plenty of characters who are just not viable at the competitive level, and I don't think this pushes Warlord that much higher than the 4 that are in meta, but I think it pushes him into like Zerk territory where he's not that great, but he can be playable. I think Warlord is on his way to that point.
Yeah, he's closer to JJ levels. He's
Mhm.
like under Raider still.
Yeah.
But he's like around Raider level. He's still under Raider though. So
Yeah, for sure.
Random thing just to answer a question that was posed earlier on. Shout out to Max XD in the chat. He apparently BP Bashlight is 21 stamina. A blocked heavy is 30.
Okay.
He says apparently. So
Way off.
the heavy is slightly more.
Yeah. Okay. And so it takes more stamina to get that 20 damage, but not by very much. But yeah, I still don't think. I think it's a bug, so it's probably going to get patched anyway. But I think even if it was meant to be this way, I'm still not 100% sure that punch through would be the play, at least for BP. His other tier 3 feats are just Oathbreaker's just too. I think it's just too valuable. Okay, so then let's. I kind of wanted to also talk briefly about Shaman. She is already a very strong character, arguably S tier, the only one in S tier for 4s for most tier lists.
she is one of two
One of 2
in S tier.
Wait, who else is in
Yes.
S tier?
Lawbringer.
Lawbringer.
Oh, I suppose that's
The
true.
meta is Lawbringer Shaman and probably BP.
Yep.
And I would suspect that is probably the staple core that every team should be running.
Yep.
But yeah, Shaman LB.
Yeah.
Because LB is the best mid in the game now that Nobu is removed from the game.
Yep.
So yeah, just run LB Shaman BP pretty much every game, and you will probably not go wrong. Your 4th can be anything that's like meta relevant.
Yeah, like Raider.
Raider, Hitakiri, Warlord, Jang Jun,
Warden.
War.
nice.
No,
No one.
not good enough.
No.
Oh.
Warden doesn't really offer too much unless he's in like a 1v1. Like his team fighting is not great. His mix is not great.
It's like the reason my thing with Warden, right? Warden's big thing was that he could go 1v1, go boost a point with morale with
Come at
me, and then get morale booster really fast.
Yeah.
And make himself really hard to gank for shamans, right? And that was his whole thing.
Yep.
Right? That was his whole like thing. Like you could pick Warden on. Warden was really good. I think Warden's best map was Shard, because on Shard you could just send him B point, keep him B point for the entire game. It'll be hard for the shaman to gank because of his tier 2. He'll probably win. He'll probably come close to winning every 1v1 because of his kit, and then he'll he'll accelerate his feats from there, right, and get really close to morale booster. And then with morale booster, you guys can go win the game because morale booster was nuts.
Yeah.
With morale booster nerfed, that sort of gameplay style has also been nerfed indirectly, and there's more of a call for characters to be like, instead of just having niche things that they can do to be able to be a lot more flexible and like flexible characters. So that's why, like Warlord, I think is much better than Warden, right? Because Warlord, he has the team fight potential, he has the gank potential with the bash, and he has good 1v1 now, especially with punch through.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
So since Shaman was such a good character in fours, these I was not honestly expecting them to buff anything from her. But they made her heavy starters have better tracking, and her side soft feint bleeds have better tracking now, and they're faster. What are your guys' opinion on these for Shaman? Were these necessary buffs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think so. I mean, it wasn't necessary to buff the character for fours, but I think that the 1v1 changes buffs are actually good because of the fact that I'm gonna start from the top. The forward movement things are good because of like you had to be in their face a lot of the time with Shaman in order to actually like land for those abilities to land, because their tracking was just so piss poor, and that's just like not fun for
Right.
Shaman players. I think that not that the ability that one of the main parts of your kit, which was the soft feints, just doesn't have any range at all, is kind of just not good, well designed. Let's go down. The side dash attacks being buffed, that's nice for punishing stuff. Don't mind it too much. It doesn't really make too much of a difference because it's only like 33 MS.
Yeah.
So it's not that big a deal. Wildcat's Witness is the dash attack, right? The dash heavy.
Like the names.
I think it's the dash heavy.
I think so.
Yeah.
The increased range helps with chasing, which is nice because more chasing needs to be in the game. The zone attack being counted as a heavy is a needed change because that's stupid. The fact that not only do you get a blocked, you get a free heavy parry on the first part of Shaman Zone blocked.
Yep.
And then you got a free light parry on the second part of Shaman Zone blocked. And that's stupid and should not be in the game.
Yeah. No, yeah.
There should be no punish where it's a light parry on block. Because that's like just horrible design.
So how would they fix that for Shaman Zone if you did just want to let it rip but not have it make some of the hits unparryable or something? Or like do less hits in the zone, maybe like 2 hits instead of 4?
Wait. No. I mean that that was the second part, right? They changed it from heavy to they changed it from
the third and
light
fourth,
to heavy.
Yeah.
But
It's
the whole thing of blocking and parrying. I'll fix that.
Like, it's that bit. I thought you were talking about that. You're not a fan of.
I mean, I'm not a fan of it, but that's just how the design is, and I think that's fine. I just don't think it should be a light, right? Because remember when Zerx was a light parry on block? Zerkazon?
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah. It's hilarious, man.
Yeah, back in the day, Zerkazon was a light parry on block. Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, though, he also had back zone back in the day, like OG back zone to compensate. Oh, that back zone was complete stupidity. Insane damage, executes like next to no speed.
Yeah. It was another one of these examples where they completely gutted it. That thing is useless now. Like, what are you going to do with that? It doesn't even kill minions anymore. I don't know.
Yeah,
it feels like
it's true. I mean, it's a good heavy parry punish, but
is it like back zone?
What? Back zone?
Oh, I thought we were talking about zone in general, not back zone. But yeah,
Sorry,
no, back zone.
no.
Yeah, no, back zone is for content. It's for the YouTube content. You know, that's pretty much what it's used for. Or somebody did it by accident. Like that's pretty much.
Somebody did it by accident. there are a few situations where you could get away with it against certain characters in like an anti-gank situation, but other than that, it's pretty useless.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So it sounds like all of these changes seem like a good quality of life change for a lot of these. The third and fourth hits of the zone being considered a heavy, I think that's been a long time coming for sure. Freeze, did you have anything else that you wanted to add with this besides what Kwai has said about Shaman?
I actually play quite a bit of Shaman, and the forward momentum movement, you really notice that. I think it's really nice because even if you target switch like after the second heavy and you target switch the bleed stab, that basically always whiffed if the other guy wasn't like hugging you already, and you really feel that now. It was a nice change. Yep, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
good stuff
for sure. Verb, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'm not much of an authority on Shaman, so I'll just like nod and smile at what everyone else says in that regard.
Yeah. All right. So then let's the second big thing that happened in terms of just like a specific character was the Hitakiri changes. You can no longer Unga Bunga as Hitakiri, which I'm sure many people, including myself, am very happy for. The identity of the character really felt like it was more around the kick sweep mix-up, and with it actually being a legitimate mix-up that you need to read properly to get out of, it just felt kind of bad for most Hitakiris that I would see were just heavy on red, and like you're not even like, this isn't what the character is supposed to be. From like how their kit is, it kind of frustrated me from like a design standpoint, because Ubisoft has been about identity and about like the character does all this stuff because this is how we identify the character, but it wasn't being used in that way. It wasn't even like, it was hardly used at all because you would just heavy through and hyper armor through. So the biggest change is the hyper armor starts later now.
500,
yeah, which means that you should be able to option select, you should be able to hit Hitakiri out of the attack with like a light or something, and it be not as degenerate to fight. Verb, I'll start with you. Are these changes that you have experienced and are good, like fine to fight against?
So like I've seen a couple less Hitakiri. What's the plural of Hitakiri? Is it just Hitakiri? Hitakiris?
Yeah.
Hitakiri?
Hitakiri.
I think it's an addiction.
A herd of Hitakiri?
Yeah.
Yes, I've encountered less Hitakiri playing since season went live, and the ones I have fought against, I have been able to sometimes interrupt. Like, I've been mentally conditioned over the years over the past like year to like, don't press a bloody button when Hito goes heavy.
Yeah.
So I'm having to sort of learn the idea of, oh, if I'm fast enough and if I'm good in the position, I could throw a button potentially. So that's taking a while. The one thing I have noticed quite heavily myself is actually, no, the two things I've noticed quite heavily myself are, the first thing, Senbon Zakura, the tier 4, having a higher cooldown of 135 seconds. That I've noticed a lot. I'm not seeing as many people use that anymore, or rather seeing as many being thrown out willy-nilly, trying to go for confirmed, because you're not getting a free kill every 90 seconds. And then the other one is, they toned down the heavy and chain damage, the Endless Myriad, to 28 from 30, and that kind of seemed like a pointless change. And until I asked one of the devs, like, "Hey, why are you doing that? That seems like really weird in the patch notes." And they told me that that's primarily to give people one extra chance in the mix-up. And now that Hitakiri is going to be primarily based around that kind of mix-up, kick sweep or release, that extra chance may make it less frustrating, but still allow it to be relatively effective.
I would like to counter that point.
Oh,
the devs made a mistake in that they forgot to take into account the chip damage.
Ooh, that's a fair point. I didn't consider that.
They actually, we tested this. It's not actually an additional part of the mix-up because the chip damage ends up making up for it. The only actual thing, and this was a meme complaint by Score, because this is a meme. Hitakiri doesn't kill minions in breach as fast. That's the really only big difference that I've noticed from this. I'm going to be honest.
Oh yeah, Pikeman would take one extra heavy from it, wouldn't it?
Yes, that's it.
Oh, yeah, you can't light heavy.
In
Yeah.
terms of the actual changes, the only real change is just the feat being nerfed, with the tier 4 being nerfed. That's good because the that kind of tier 4 is kind of toxic. Just hey, I'm going to GB into instantly killing you.
Yeah.
The other one is, of course, Hitakuris can't parry everything on light timing anymore and get away with it. If you're heavy damage,
no more thuggery going on. They have to play honest somewhat.
Was it really as prevalent though? I felt like the meme itself was, I don't know, was more perpetuated than the heavy on red in game actually. I mean,
it depended on the matchup.
Yeah.
Because if the character's heavy, heavy and HP bar were didn't account for the difference. It's like against a Yorm, you could parry everything on light timing, right? Because you'd trade and you'd get away with, and you'd be you'd be in HP advantage, right? Because Yorm does no damage besides for you being out of stamina. If you're against if you're against a Shinobi, you could do it, right? Because he wouldn't get the second light, so his heavies would only be like 30, and his HP is so low that you make up for the difference, right? So against characters where you could make up for you could trade heavies and you'd win in you would be an advantage with HP. And then not only that, you could also chain off that into a mix-up. That was something you could do that against. Yeah. But with the meta, with the meta being a lot of very heavy hitting heavies, right? So you wouldn't want to trade with a raider, right? Or you wouldn't want to trade with a lawbringer, or you wouldn't want to trade with who else was in the meta? You might not want to trade with a BP, kind of thing. But in certain matchups, that was definitely a viable strategy. Yeah, or at certain HP differences, right? If they were attacking and were extremely low on HP, you could do it. Yeah.
Being brainless when knowing when to do it.
Being strategically brain dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Strategically brain dead.
Yes.
Yeah, but now the character is less brain dead, and you actually have to, as the opponent to the Hitokiri, you actually have to use your brain now. Whereas before you tried to just block, you couldn't attack. As a Berserker player, I hated fighting Hitokiris. I could never do anything. Now, granted, I'm not a great Berserker player. I'm not that great of a player, but it just felt super difficult to fight against Hito as Zerk. I couldn't push buttons. I couldn't really try to parry because I would if I guessed wrong, I was eating 30 damage. But now, and Otto said this yesterday, he's he doesn't like fighting Hitokiri now because he has to use his brain. Yeah, I mean, it's a good change.
You have to actually think.
Although, if we're talking brain dead stuff, if we go from brain dead heavies to getting parried on a brain dead timing, poor Zhanhu came out this season and he came out like a wet fart. Bless his heart.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. We'll get to Zhanhu. We will. Freeze. Is there anything else you wanted to add about the Hitokiri changes that you've seen?
Let me look it up. Not really. I think we covered most of it.
Yeah, I think so.
His punishes are also lower now. I mean, what is it? I don't know what Mangetsu is, but never mind. I mean, you don't get 2 heavies anymore on the forward throw or the parry.
Yeah.
So they lowered the overall damage on his out of stamina punishes, and I guess I'm never against that in general.
Yeah, damage is too high in the game to begin with. Yep. Yeah. Okay, so then another small change that was actually very nice was the guard switch change for both BP and Yorm. I've noticed a difference in this because I'm able to dodge a lot easier the bashes from both of them after a light, because I play on mouse and keyboard and I swear I'm not moving my mouse, but my guard changes and I just get hit. Was this Freeze? I'll ask you: is this a good change, or is this a nerf to these characters that really isn't necessary?
It depends. I like the outcome of what they changed. I don't like how they changed it because I think it's a band-aid, just making the time between light and bash, or heavy and bash on George, making that longer, because it doesn't fix the issue itself that you can't dodge when you have a guard break buffer. I think they should fix that. I mean, yeah, it was about time. It's better than nothing. But yeah, I hope they still work on that, like fix it properly. Then maybe they can revert that change. But yeah, I like the outcome. I don't like the change itself.
Yeah, it's the issue is more that it's not the character's fault; it's the mechanics fault itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where your guard switch shouldn't you shouldn't have like a stun to your dodge while switching guard. You know, it's not the issue of the character, and then yeah, you're nerfing the speed of the chain as opposed to actually fixing the thing that's wrong. It does make it slightly worse for the character, but other than that, it's annoying.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like it changes, like in terms of like competitive, for example. You're not seeing Yorm unless Crack is playing him and has high latency or something, so all the bushes last.
Or you're against that one, or you're against
Florida Man,
or you're against the second NA team, which does run a Yorm.
Yeah.
The one of two.
But
one of two NA teams, and one of them runs a Yorm.
But it doesn't really change where they're at. Like Blackbriar is still going to be just as good. Yorm is still going to be just as bad.
Yep.
I see it more as like a quality of life change, I guess, than anything else.
It's supposed to be a quality of life change. It's just annoying that they have to make it this way as opposed to actually fixing the problem, essentially.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to touch on when it came to patch notes was the feats. Heal on block no longer triggers off of soldiers and pikemen, or blocked ally attacks. To me, this seems like a very common sense change that should have been coming for a while. I've seen a lot of people though, and some streamers too, who have complained that heal on block was nerfed to the point that it was. I mean, I feel like it should have been nerfed because it was just way too good. Like, I understand, like,
it was obnoxious.
Yeah, it was obnoxious,
it needed to be changed, but I would have liked to see it instead of just. The issue is that this is not an adjustment; this is a nerf.
Yeah,
and it needs to be adjusted. Like the actual value of the heal itself needed to be buffed, so it's not essentially just, hey, you no longer take chip damage. Which is essentially what it is.
7, right? 7 HP.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's essentially you no longer take chip damage, which is nice, but it's not. It makes it so that certain characters are very dead in Dominion.
Yeah,
like Conk.
Yeah, Conk didn't have hardly any feats, and now he,
Conk had one niche. That niche is gone.
Yeah.
He doesn't even benefit from the punch through buff.
No, he doesn't, because he has no tracking on any of his moves. You can just back dodge and he can't do anything. Like, he can't change. He can't chain. If he tries to delay his chains, they all whiff too, which is nice. Really well designed. Good job, Ubisoft.
Yeah. Sidelights, it's horrible.
Yeah, so the nerf probably was a bit too much, but something needed to be changed. And so it's just like we were talking about earlier, like what Verb said with Raider cutting off the arm because there's a small problem with it. So just a different, just like a bad direction for heal on block. What about the direction they went with like Battle Cry, Morale Booster, and Scout? Freeze, I'll ask you first. With these changes, are these at a good place, or are these feats just now bad and other things will be ran in their place?
Mostly what I'm unsure about is the duration buff. Did they overdo that? Like 20 seconds on Morale Booster?
Oh, you mean nerf? You mean the duration nerf?
Yeah. Maybe they overdid that. I mean, the values okay, I guess. 50% of morale boost was just absurd.
Yeah.
I guess 30 is just fine. And then what is it? Battlecry 25. Scout on 15, I don't know. Maybe. That's a little low. On the low end. But I mean it has
Okay.
From competitive play, there is no reason to run any of these feats anymore, because they're just better alternatives in every slot for every character that has them.
Is it a combined
except-
thing? But sorry, you go.
Except with Warden, I guess, because Warden does. No, never mind. Warden has Stalwart.
Yeah,
Yes, he does.
Friendship Banner's
Okay.
pretty good. Yeah.
He has
Larry's
Friendship Banner.
banner.
Never mind.
Yep.
Yeah, they're just better alternatives to all these feats now, because they're just bad. The durations are they gutted this is the Ubisoft. We're just going to literally chop off. We're gonna destroy the feat. We're just going to destroy whatever feat we think needs a nerf. If a feat needs to be nerfed, it's either getting changed to the point where it's not actually. Or it either gets gutted or the change is not relevant.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
You think it's a combined thing between the reduction of the value itself and the duration? Or would you have been okay with just one of the changes?
I think I would have been
I'm
okay
still
with just one.
Okay.
I think 30 seconds of I think a bit of both, actually. I think for morale booster specifically, maybe 40%, maybe 35. The issue with it, morale booster and Battlecry, right, is that the difference between Battlecry and morale was 15%, and now it's just 5. You have a 5% buff for a whole tier above feat. You only get 5% for the same duration, and you don't get the what is it? The actual the minion clearing ability of Battlecry, which is actually kind of it's not too useful, but you know it can come up from time to time.
You can instantly break a front line in like
yeah,
a last
you can instantly break mid with it, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen games won and lost on clearing the minion line.
Yep.
So it can't be
like
useful.
Battlecry is, I think, better than morale booster in general now because of the fact that you know it's only 5% for 5% same duration. It's a tier 3 as opposed to a tier 4, and Battlecry will never see play because Second Wind exists.
Yep.
It might see play on Tiandi, but Tiandi never sees play because Tiandi is bad.
True. Now I'm sad. This has been depressing. It's like every single feat in the patch notes so far has either been gutted in such a manner that it's now irrelevant, or just it wasn't relevant in the first place. And now I'm sad.
I mean, the issue with Battlecry is that it was being considered on Raider, right? It was being considered sometimes, you know, people were experimenting with it, but there's no reason to run it when Second Wind exists. Because Second Wind is just broken beyond belief.
Second Wind is Second Wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, Second Wind.
Yeah.
When's the last time in For Honor's entire history that there's been a feat nerf that has been healthy and hasn't like flipped the table on anything? Like, I'm trying to think. When's the closest? Maybe the. Go on.
Closest thing was this last Second Wind nerf.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Where they nerfed the feat, but the feat is still broken.
Yeah, it's the best direction they went. They nerfed part of it, but they didn't like nerf it enough to where it needs to be.
Thank you, Jeebus. Blissful Rest. That's the last time for me that they really took the hammer to something, but still kept it okay. Like swapping old Nobushi Blissful Rest for Second Wind.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I mean,
That's a good.
Switch something completely broke into something.
Something also
completely
less
broken. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like, I was trying to go through my head like maybe the time they swapped Second Wind from being charge based to a single cooldown, like perhaps, but no, Blissful Rest, absolutely. For those of you that don't know, because I'm seeing some people ask in the chat, basically, you know the Second Wind animation for Nobushi where she stands there with the Naginata just for a second. That used to be called Blissful Rest, and it used to be a complete 100% HP heal in very quick time with low cooldown.
Nice.
Just for Nobushi. It was dumb.
No, it wasn't 100%. I'm pretty sure, if I remember right.
No, it was 100%. It was a full heal.
It was more.
Yeah,
it was more.
It was like so the way that it worked is that it's essentially kept regenerating your HP at a certain rate for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
That rate
Oh.
could
Team all
exceed
the time.
that number could exceed 100% if you were taking damage while the blissful rest heal was happening. It was like
Oh,
175.
okay.
So it was
I
actually
thought it was a
better than 100%.
You need to remember though, back then, second win had what, 3 charges or something?
Yeah.
3 charges, yeah.
3
Yeah.
charges, but wait, there was also the time period where Second Wind got all its charges removed and Blissful Rest was still in the game.
I did that overlap. I thought they removed
Nope,
that at the same time.
They did not remove that at the same
Oh,
time. There was a
four?
time where Second Wind was in pretty close to its current state, and Second Wind got nerfed. Second Wind is close to its current state, and Blissful Rest was in the game in its brokenness.
What
Chat's saying apparently old Second Wind had 4
Yeah, it was
charges, not
4.
3.
It was 4
My bad.
charges.
would removing
interesting.
the cleanse of bleed and fire from Second Wind make it in a good spot, or is it also the
It would
amount
murder
that
it.
it heals?
I think Second Wind would lose a lot of its relevancy because most people would use it as like a bleed, like, oh, I was successfully shaman ganked, try again. But like they would have to buff the healing slightly, otherwise I think not a lot of people would run Second Wind. It's like on Zhang Jun, for instance, his tier 3's in a bit of a weird spot right now because Toughest Nails got nerfed into the ground. Second Wind is still Second Wind, so everyone runs Second Wind. Once the bleed and fire removal got taken off, it's like, what would you want to run on his tier 3? Because the heal for Second Wind isn't fantastic. It's okay.
How much does it heal?
I don't know.
Doesn't it heal like?
It's
60 or something?
Yeah.
Maybe. I think it's like 60.
It's on average, it's like a third of an HP bar traditionally.
I
It's like a
mean,
third.
It's really good even without the H with it because it's essentially plus 60 HP on demand.
Yeah.
Right. So even without the bleed cleanse, I think it might save play. It's something that would need to actually be
How-
tested.
If the bleed fire was removed, which feats in the game would compete in the tier 3 slot with a Second Wind post nerf? Like how many feats in the game would compete with it?
Toughest
It's like what
Nails.
is that? Yeah, like toughest nails, but toughest nails has also been nerfed. Then maybe Pugno Mortis, the grenades. Maybe that sees a little bit more relevancy.
No.
Really? No Pugno Mortis.
Those feats are bad.
Yeah,
those feats
it
are
looks is
really
trash,
bad.
but Pugno Mortis for a free mid clear.
Tier 3 for
I
one
mean-
play every, what, 90 seconds?
Yeah.
Tier 3 for a mid clear every 90 seconds.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the 90 seconds, but the problem is with these bombs, you need to clear the very end of the minion lane to unbreak it or something.
Yeah.
There needs
So
to be
you
less.
throw in the
like,
middle,
free
clear
moves.
those, and then these 2 bellends at the end just keep it.
Right. They hold the line. Yeah.
Fair point.
Yeah.
I would not see.
What are Shaman's other tier 3s? Like if Second Wind is dead, like what are
She
her other tier
has
3s?
the
She's Iron
throwing
Skin.
bleed axe
Takes damage.
and
Iron Skin, whatever. The one that makes it you take less damage randomly.
No, that's tier 2.
Is that a tier 2?
That's
Oh,
thick
shit, never
skin. Yeah, that's on tier 2.
Oh, thick skin. Thank you. My
Yeah.
bad.
So axe throw, Second Wind.
Axe throw and
bleed
second
axe.
wind and something else. What's the other one?
I actually
Probably
Ooh.
one of the
But is
useless
the
ones.
bleed axe any good actually? I mean the Zerk axe, yeah, you can finish
Yeah.
someone off.
And the issue with the bleed axe is that Shaman already has ways to finish people off.
Fury.
And-
Thank you.
Oh,
Fury.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's good.
Fury actually, yeah.
That's not that bad.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's Fury.
So is
No.
the proper
It would
direct?
need to be experimented with.
Yeah.
It would need to be experimented with.
Yeah. Is
That
the
would need to be on a test.
is the proper direction for this to what would be healthier, reducing the amount that it healed, or eliminating the bleed and fire cleanse? Like what's the the healthier direction?
I'd still say digital cleanse personally, but go on.
It's hard to say. It would need to be tested.
Yeah,
I
I'd say
can't.
try it out.
I can't make a judgment without testing.
Yeah. Let's use the testing grounds,
Wanna-
Ubisoft. If you're
Yes.
if you're listening, Smile, please use the testing grounds more. You have people who are willing to go in there and test. So I use it more, please.
As long as you have custom games enabled.
Yeah,
style.
yeah, that's true. Yes, also
Yeah.
custom games. So a quick thing I just wanted to comment on as well. Map changes for Shard and Harbor to where there's less environmentals. Good change. Big fan of
Shard's still banned.
Yeah, Shard. That's,
Shard's still banned.
Yeah, Shard
you
is
removed one fire but kept the other. Like, what's
Yeah.
the point? Just-
Yeah.
And yeah, you made it
That map's
less
still bad.
annoying, but
yeah.
The other one, the Harbor one was good. I like the Harbor one. Good job, Ubisoft and Harbor. Shard's still shit.
Yes.
That's all I got.
Yes. Yeah. The Harbor changes were good. The Shard changes weren't good enough to bring it back into the rotation. Harbor replaced Shard, and it continues to replace Shard.
Yes.
Okay, so from the patch note perspective, was there anything else we didn't cover that you guys wanted to cover before we moved on?
Yeah, really quickly, they fixed the bug with Jormungandr and Blackprior, where if you late swapped your block.
we talked
Did
about
we?
it. Yeah.
We did.
Okay,
yeah,
never mind.
we did.
Corrected. My bad.
Yeah.
Never mind them. I'm good.
Can we ask questions? Yes, you can ask questions. I'm not sure we can get to them at the end if people want to stick around to answer questions. But yeah, feel free. Just save them for the end. Okay, so that's patch notes. We're good on that. So then let's move on to Xianhu. I was actually very excited to see this character drop from what I saw in the Breach game mode at Montreal. I liked what I saw. I liked that the zone was a 360, was undodgeable, so I was thinking that had great teamfight applications. The unblockable finishers, both heavy and light, is a great idea, in my opinion, because it can, if done correctly, it can actually force a reaction, which I believe was their intention. So it seemed like from a character design perspective, it was supposed to be a team fighter who could 2v2 really well, who had a lot to offer, but then we get our hands on it and we see the unblockable light is 600 ms and the heavy is it 900 or 800 ms, the unblockable heavy,
Something like
900.
that.
yeah, which is super slow. And then the zone is still okay for team fights, because it hits around him and is undodgeable, so there's some use there. But for everything else, it doesn't seem like competitively viable. Even the dash attacks, which are, you can alternate between heavy and light, and all that does is change the direction it's coming from. But both are still a light parry. Both of them are still 400 ms, and as far as I'm aware, you can't really delay them that much. So they are still essentially free parries. So
You can also back dodge them and you can't punish it.
yeah, well, okay, so then there's that. So what it seems like, this character was designed for team fights, and it seems like from what the character has, this isn't accurate. Verb, I'd like to talk to you about this. When you were watching like Score, I think it was just Scorebrand and Crack who played them on stream. Was your impression? Does your impression of it then match up with what it actually is now?
Yeah, my impressions for Xianhu have been all over the shop. Like, full, complete story. Now that Xianhu is out, I don't mind sort of talking about this. So, back during Jormungandr, when that season reveal happened, we got to have a small taste of Xianhu. And at the time, everyone there was really high on him. He was fantastic. 10 times better than bloody Yorm. Then fast forward to this one, to the one that just went, the one that just came by, and people were getting their hands on Xianhu, and then some of the problems started coming through. There wasn't too many changes between those two versions we played. It was just the time and getting closer and things were getting polished up, that it was like, hang on a minute, these lights are a bit, interesting. Okay, bit slow. And once like Score and Crack and Setback and Havoc really got their fangs into it and started to break it down, it was a complete like demolition. So my opinion personally, Cerez, has been all over the place, because I used to be high as shit on Xianhu, then it went down a bit, then it went up again playing him again in Montreal, then it went when it actually ended up like when some of the pros started really getting in on him. And then finally, now that I've actually had a chance to play him, because of course, since I was doing commentary with Vivid in Montreal, I didn't get that much time to practice or play at all with Xianhu. All I got to do at most was take notes on some of the Effete names and stuff so I could remember them on the top of my head.
Yeah.
now that I've actually played against Janhu and played with Janhu for some time, his his attacks are way too slow. Like, even for someone like me who's got a monkey brain, I can somewhat reliably parry his 600 millisecond light attacks, and that's me. Like, the most difficulty I have with Janhu is occasionally bamboozling myself and mullying. And even though that was somewhat of the intention of the character, from what I understand, is to force mullies and those kind of like read, like parry reaction kind of stuff. At least that was the intention. He's so slow that he doesn't do that. And the only time that's going to happen is when someone does it out of their own sheer incompetence. So at least right now, like, Janhu doesn't need a redesign. He just needs like a sheer buttload of numbers tweaks, and please fix his hitboxes because they're complete ass. His hitboxes are questionable as hell.
Yeah, that's true.
The other issue is that with I'm going to speak on the light since you're mentioning them on the bully factor. As time passes, that's going to get even worse because the animations are extremely telling on those. Because every single time he does a heavy, he turns his back to you. So if his back to you, if his back is to you, it's a heavy. If not, it's a light.
Yep.
So once people start getting onto the animation side and start reacting to start getting more used to the animations. What?
I'm gonna steal that for a video. That's
There you go. Once people start reacting more to the animations and start getting more used to the animations, his unblockables are going to be useless. In terms of the character, he is bad. He is worse than Jormungandr in every game mode. He is arguably one of the worst. He is one of the worst characters in the game. In fours, he is also one of the worst characters in the game. His dash attack cancels are really bad because they're so slow. His recoveries are terrible. For some reason, they gave another character Tiandi recoveries. I don't know why. There's no reason to pick this character when you could just pick JJ, who has literally everything this character could ever want and then has more.
Yeah. I feel like when they released him, like shortly before, they changed a lot of these. Like they were afraid to release the character with its full potential. It could have been so much better. Like you said, it's just number changes, like the dodge attacks, the recovery. I think you can change that quickly. I think. Who knows? But yeah, they were afraid to release the limitless character, like they called him.
Yeah, I mean, the character has like a very unique playstyle, which is cool, right? He has the, JJ alternative where he has certain things that are better than JJ, certain things that are worse, where he's more based on dodge canceling into like dash attacks, and it has slightly better chase, whereas JJ has more HP, has hyper armor, and has better stam because of his Sifu, and he's better with his when he gets a parry, and that's like a very unique design where you have two characters who are very similar but have unique play styles that make them different, which is cool to see. It's just that Zanhu doesn't have like anything. Even his feats are really bad.
Yeah,
his feats are.
They are competing in the same niche, JJ and Janhu.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Team fighter. They are very much competing in the same niche. Whereas a team fighter with they're competing on the basis of the team fighter niche, right? A team fighter that can't. There are team fighters that can't clear mid. There are team fighters that are specialized in team fighting in 1vx scenarios, and that's their big specialty, right? Their 1v1s are both very bad. They're very much competing on the same sort of niche, and like Warlord and BP are competing on the same niche. It's just that this character just lacks so many numbers. He lacks damage. His dodge cancels are bad. His dash attacks don't actually function as dash attacks because they don't work against mix-ups. So like here's a traditional one. One of the big mix-ups for Hidakiri is after with her kick is feign to guard break, feign to parry, or let it rip. That's like the big mix-up with her, right? Against Zanhu, you can just do feign to guard break or kick because Zanhu cannot dodge attack and beat kick or 4 GB because of the delay on the dash attack makes it so that you just get grabbed out of it anyway.
Do you mean the kick or the sweep? Sorry, just to clarify.
The kick.
Oh, the kick specifically.
Yeah.
Okay.
GB vulnerability is excessive. Like you see the indicator and still grab him. It's the usual 100 probably, but it's if you look at the dodge and the attack, it's a 500 millisecond vulnerability.
It's a 500.
That's it's insane.
It's extremely bad.
Yeah.
It's probably like the worst dodge attack in the game of characters that actually have dodge attacks.
Yeah, and it also doesn't have the added iframes.
Yeah.
Because some dodge attacks get the iframes after you input the attack. But no, it's just sometimes you dodge something, input the attack, and then get hit.
It's clearly meant to be an opener, except it's not an opener because you can back dodge it and you can't do anything. And you can't even fix the fact that you can do that, because the only way that you could probably fix the fact, unless you like make the hitbox really long, I guess that might be a fix. But like you can't add like dodge GB or something, right? Because if you add dodge GB, the character's suddenly a degenerate defensive machine because he just has dodge GB.
Hi, old Raider. Nice to see you. Welcome back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So then, keep going. Yeah,
It's bad timing. His feats are also really bad, except for his tier 2. His tier 4 is just like, why would you run that?
Although you could deflect the Qilin ruse. You can deflect it for some reason.
So many things. You can team deflect it and all that.
You can BP flip it.
Flip it.
That's hilarious.
Yes. You can BP flip his tier 2 and then ledge him for some reason.
Yeah.
Super
on
cool.
the it's a really funny. It's there's some clips on Crack's channel. I think it was on his most recent video where we were doing testing on that, and because of the range, it's like if he like throws it from a high altitude on a ledge to try and hit a BP, the BP flips it. You can ledge someone like from a different point because you flip the guy off
double
the map.
flip, by the way. That's when I turned off. You guys tried double flipping.
We did not manage. We did not manage to flip him twice.
They flipped the bomb and then tried to flip the guy being flipped.
He would end up like flying over you for some reason.
Nice.
It was weird.
So
no, what we tried to do is we tried to flip the bomb and then flip the enemy. Then
that's being dragged. Yeah.
Yeah, we tried to flip the hitbox of the Zenhu flying because you can flip things being thrown at you. You can flip that. Like staggers.
Anything with a bump box you can flip.
Yeah, anything with a bump box you can flip, but we couldn't get that because he ended up just flying over the BP.
Freeze, is there anything that you think this character does well?
She does well. Does he do it well? Does he do it? I mean, he's supposed to be. I guess he does it all right. You don't feel useless when you're outnumbered, like some other characters. But does he do it well?
Yes, you do. I feel worse when I'm outnumbered on this character than I do on
Orochi.
I feel worse on this character when I'm outnumbered than I do on Orochi.
I don't really feel all that bad, but does he do
that's because are you playing against competitive players or MM players?
You know I'm not. So
exactly. So when it's a competitive player, if you throw your unblockable and let it rip, you're getting GB'd every time because the recovery is so bad.
Yeah.
If your light gets blocked, you're getting GB'd because that's standard. If you throw out your zone, you can get GB'd if you don't throw out anything after that. And you have to throw out the unblockable in order to not get GB'd because if you throw out the dash attack, you get guard broken anyway. That's the only thing you can chain into is the unblockable. But if you go into the unblockable, you get GB'd anyway because the recovery is bad.
What were you going to say, Verb?
Yeah, on the mention of the outnumbered thing, I've noticed the more I've played against Zhanhu, the times I've played against him as someone with if you've got a deflect or some kind of superior block into functionality like shoulder pin, funnily enough, Zhanhu's bash, like his zone externally is deflect bait. Holy shit. I have been able to extremely reliably deflect his zone if I'm stood next to him. Especially if you're stood in the 12 to like 3 o'clock position for looking from his perspective. So if you're stood to his front right and he throws the zone, it's just every time dash left, get whatever you want consistently. And then I can't even imagine how bad it gets once you get people who start doing that stuff on his normal hits too that aren't unblockable. But for me, at least personally, really quick, like the one thing I do love with Janhu is against people who are not competitive and are barely like good play, physically playing Janhu feels fun to me because he's got flow. And he doesn't have as much flow as I'd like because you can't like recovery counts as finishes. But early on in my first couple games, because my matchmaking was like stunted from not playing for like a month, like I was having some fun with Janhu because he just felt fun. And then my matchmaking reset to normal levels, and then I got matched in with like Clutchmeister crack stacks and got dumpstered.
Right.
But for that small couple games, it felt really nice.
Yeah. What you said about the flow at the beginning, you know, it feels nice. Oh, you can do this, you can do that. Oh, that. But the more you play, the more you notice how limited it is. I think that's not just your matchmaking setting; it's just you realizing you playing enough to see it, to notice that.
I have to disagree on that factor. Actually, I immediately noticed that he felt clunky. Mostly because I played a lot. I played a lot of Tiandi, like a lot of Tiandi, even in scrims, and when you switch from Tiandi's dash cancels to this character's dash cancels, you immediately feel the clunkiness because of how slow he feels with his dash cancels. Right? You get Tiandi dash cancels, that's like immediate. You know, you hit a light, you dash, you can immediately dash. You hit a light, you like wait like a half second, and then you can dash with this character, and it just feels clunky immediately, at least to me.
Yeah, when
I can understand that.
When I had my first experience with him, we first dropped, and I played him in MM. The first couple days were fun for two reasons. One, it's matchmaking, so you're not gonna have necessarily high tier gameplay. But two, because the character was so new and people didn't know what to do against him, he was very fun to play. And when I was asked multiple times, like, how did I feel about the character? And I basically said that he, from a design perspective, he only needs a couple tweaks, and I think the character would be really good. But against people who don't know how to play against the character, he's very fun.
Oh yeah, he's definitely very fun on the casual side.
Yeah,
he's a lot more fun than Yorm.
Yeah,
it's just that you know, he's bad. He feels clunky. He's bad, but he feels his kit feels nice. Like his kit, he obviously has a kit that's there.
Yeah.
Right. It's a complete kit. It's just that he is clearly missing numbers.
Yeah.
Just like for the most part, just numbers. He doesn't really need too much in terms of like actual kit changes. I mean, like the most I could suggest would like be a dash cancel on the unblockable finisher would be really nice. Other than that, what?
We kind of hope with him, I think.
Yeah. A dash cancel on the finishers, please.
If you look at George, I have no hope on that character changing anytime soon.
Yeah.
That character is a mess. Like the only suggestion I can make for Yorm would be to make like the light confirmed on block on the bash, so that way you get like chip damage or something. That's like my only hope with Yorm, other than like a complete redesign. Other than that, the character is just Yorm is a character, that's for sure.
Yeah, with Janhu, the moment for me that I had that moment it clicked, like, oh god, this feels horrible. I couldn't find any like Dominion games because For Honor matchmaking Lamau for like a solid 15-20 minutes. So I just went into some duels, and I had two separate duels. I did the first duel against someone, and I was having a great time. It was a Zanhu mirror. We were going backwards and forwards. Like we were sometimes parrying the unblockable lights, but not that frequently because we kept missing it. We were occasionally getting bamboozled by heavies, and it was like constant buttons being pressed, and it was a lot of fun. Then I got matched in with a friend of mine in the next game after called Daimyo Daps, and anytime I threw a light, immediately parried consistently. So all of a sudden, one of my biggest quote-unquote tools with Janhu was broken, and the wind was just right out of my sails immediately. I was just like, what do I do? I can't press any buttons. I try and do like zone unblockables. No, that doesn't work. All right, maybe I'll try and do some of the dash canceling, but then like Kawaii said, it's so clunky that yeah, it's a 400 millisecond reaction, but it's obvious as hell. So
Right.
you just get parried or back dodged on that. That happened in that duel. So that wasn't the fault of the person I was fighting. Daimyo Daps, he's a good mate of mine, but he was just consistently, anytime I throw out one of the button that I assumed would be like my quick poke, just nope.
Yeah.
Nope. The most success I was having was doing the annoying interrupting cow play style of just poke,
Right.
poke, whenever he try and press a button. That's the only thing I could do to get rounds on him was just interrupt, 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 GB, interrupt. That's all I could do. So that was the moment for me, Cerezo, at least, that Janhu really clicked and I realized, well, shit.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not touching this person.
Yeah, it's tough in a 1v1 scenario with the character for sure. Even when the character first dropped and in matchmaking, like if I played mainly Breach just to look at the new map, but even then, like it was easier in team fights because people didn't know what to do. I knew the left hitbox was better than the right hitbox, so that's what I would try to use the most. But when 1v1 scenarios happened, it was very difficult to get any damage in, even to people who were just trying to get used to the character themselves. Like it's always been tough. So Kawaii mentioned something that I wanted to talk about a little bit more when he said that the animations between the unblockable light and the unblockable heavy are so different that it's very easy to differentiate between the two. As I wanted to talk about like what could be done to the character to make him more viable on a competitive level. The thing that I had asserted for since I started playing the characters to speed up both the unblockable light and the unblockable heavy, to make it to where you have less time to react to that animation change. Kawaii, is this something that you think would be helpful for the character, since changing animations is going to be more difficult than, say, speeding up the move?
I don't think the character's 1v1 could ever be salvaged. The character's just so bad at 1v1s. It's like not salvageable at all. I think making the dash attack actually a dash attack is probably the best thing for it. Make the dash attack actually function like a dash attack for his one. Make his dodge cancel slightly faster, more like Tiandi levels. Make it so that he can dash cancel out of his finishers. I don't think the actual speeds need to be, they could be buffed a little bit, maybe like 500 ms on the light, and then that'd probably be fine. He just needs, his flow just needs to be better. He just needs buffs mostly to the flow of the character, I think, first, and then we can see how that works. And then he also needs some feat changes because his feats are really bad. I think mostly just like, make his flow feel better, make his dash cancels better, make his dash attack better, make it so he can dash cancel out of the unblockable, or make it faster. Reduce the recovery if you can't reduce like that, if you can't make it dash cancel, reduce the recovery. Other than that, I don't think it really needs to be sped up. I think it just needs focusing more on the dash aspect is, I think, a better way to go with this character, because that makes him more like unique. It makes him cooler to play, and it keeps sort of that same play style of Infor is similar, where he's just sort of dashing around everywhere. He can he's just like zone dash cancel into a dash attack into another zone, and then maybe into an UB if like you have teammate cover, kind of thing. Yeah, it's like the animations of the unblockables isn't really necessary in a team fight because you have bashes to confirm it or you have guard breaks to confirm it.
Yeah,
which is nice. So like that's not super necessary. It's mostly just like the dash cancels need to actually be good and make it so his dash attack actually functions like a dash attack and can be used to dodge things. And it's
sorry, can I cut him for a sec, because there's something with his bash, his dodge bash.
Oh
there's an idea like that. Yeah, I really enjoy that move, even though it's crap. I know, me enjoying things that are bad, it's a bit of a habit, but I really enjoy using that move. But it has no point right now. There's no point in it really existing outside of maybe knocking someone out of stamina if they're low. But yeah, it could technically ledge. There's one suggestion I saw on Reddit that I really did like, and it was the idea of him, instead of having just the bash element to it, make it so he bashes and then breathes fire for a small amount of fire damage. So it gives him a way of lighting the enemy on fire for his tier 3 to actually be more accessible.
Yeah, that was the
when
big
mounting
thing, right?
damage.
That was a suggestion I think Rave made as well, which was that give him access to some actual fire damage in his own kit,
Yeah.
because he doesn't have any, and so he has no way to enable his own feats, besides his tier 2 and tier 4, which is
Question
like.
though.
Yes,
Would you
what?
use it then? If it did like 10 fire damage, would you use it?
Would I use what?
The bash.
His bash?
The deflect. The bash. Would you use it?
And gosh, I mean, sure. If you get in a
Really?
team fight, you maybe. I would
Yeah,
like.
sure, if you get it
Yeah.
externally, then bash him and confirm something else. But would you use it
Yeah.
just because it did the 10 fire damage or whatever?
Would I actively look for it? No. If I
Yeah.
got it, I'd use it. I mean, most of the time you aren't actively looking for deflects in competitive onesies. You aren't usually actively looking for deflects unless you're playing a character that gets something really good out of it, like Shinobi.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Because
I'd say
or unless you're against like Valk. Unless you're against Valk, deflects are very handy because dodging, if you just dodge on light timing to any of the side attacks, you just negate her entire mix up. So, deflects are pretty good against that character.
I like the fire identity with this character. I think it's cool. But I think the tier 3 feat that makes him do more damage to a opponent that's on fire should be more passive into the character's kit instead of as a feat, like enhanced lights for PK when the person's bleeding. Shaman heals when she hits somebody that's bleeding or gets the bite. I feel like applying it something like that.
Nobu does bonus damage to people that are
right.
bleeding.
Yeah. So we see these interactions with these different status effects that are specific to the character's kit and not their feats. I feel like that tier 3 feat being transferred over to just how the character is already would have been a better design choice. But then you think you would really have to do something like Verb was saying from the person on Reddit who said, make the bash do fire damage or the deflect do fire damage or something like that. For something like that to work, it would have the fire damage would have to be inherent in the kit, not from a feed or happening to throw them into a fire environmental.
Yeah, the big thing with the fire theme is that fire is much less common than bleed. I think one suggestion that we had was reduce the actual percentage of the tier 3 and then make a certain percentage of his attacks actually do fire damage. So like maybe reduce the percentage and then make a percentage of his damage just convert into fire.
So it's so he's constantly dealing fire damage.
Have you played arcade with bots doing fire damage to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they use that same effect, I think that is extremely annoying.
No, you can't make it so that the character is on fire because it's the fact that the actual character model itself.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the things they will do.
Yeah, no, I agree with Freeze.
They like having everything, like they added the effect on undodgeable and stuff. They like the UI to show all that stuff.
Make it so his unblockable damage deals fire then. So make it so that his unblockable, the giant orange thing becomes fiery when he has his tier 3. There, I fixed it.
I agree with you. I'm just scared of how they're going to implement that.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
I'd love how to see the implementer, because thinking about it from a lore perspective, I know out of left field, but from a lore perspective, if you took someone brand new to the game, like if I took my mum, sat her down with the character and said, play this character for 10 minutes, what do you think their story is? She would probably just think, oh, it's a Chinese guy with a bad scar who really likes a long sword. There's nothing in his default kit that gives you an indication he's like really big into gunpowder and artillery, and he casually betrayed the Emperor with fire. So because of that, like,
it wasn't it. He killed his family.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
He killed his family for the. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. He killed his family for the Emperor with fire. So there's nothing in his base kit that show that. So having something in his base kit that would fire. Like maybe even I can imagine it if they want to go really wacky. He's got such flamboyant moves in his unblockable heavies. Make them do the fire and have these trails of fire following the tip of his sword as he's doing the unblockable heavies. That could be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like you have this giant backspinning animation. Make it like he like breathes like fire onto it while he's spinning or something.
Just chucks gunpowder in the air and as he's going because he's got like gunpowder all over him from artillery.
There you go. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
The character just needs, in order for his actual feats to work, he needs fire damage somewhere, somehow, in order for that tier 3 to be useful. Otherwise, his tier 3 slot is actually just so bad that Nuka-Kubi is being considered.
Yeah, like
it's that bad.
Like,
Nuka-Kubi is low tier, great in clearing minions, though. Real talk.
On, stop it. Well, you have half a tier 1. Yeah, it's more stamina, but for fuck's sake, no, it's not.
What do you mean? Yes, you can't clear minions with that character because he doesn't have goddamn body count.
Oh man.
The character that has like the best mid clear in the game has like Fire Trap as an equivalent to Fire Trap as a tier 2 would be amazing in mid, but doesn't have body count.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn it.
Yeah, it seems like a character that should have body count with how his kit is. I feel like I should be in mid clearing minions.
I feel like they just won't add body count to any of the Wulin for some reason.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice
as well, but he doesn't.
Yeah,
Tiandi should have it as a Vanguard.
He's the Vanguard, right? Like, why doesn't he have?
He's the only Vanguard that doesn't have body count.
Yeah,
only one.
I don't know. I think from a feat standpoint, I think just changing his tier 3 feat to be like you do passive fire damage. That like once you unlock your tier 3 feat or something, like you do you set your sword on fire animation or something like that if you can, or like something like that feels much better than you do more damage if your opponent's on fire when the only time you can get them on fire is if they happen to have been hit by your tier 2 or something.
Yeah, and I mean the other issue is that his kit is completely based, or like his feat setup is based on his traditional feat setup is based around a debuff. And basing your kit around a debuff with no like major ramification thing like Shaman Bite is kind of an issue in Force.
The only synergy is with tier 4 feats, right? His stuff. Oh no, it's a tier 3 Firebow.
Yeah. No, his tier 3 isn't a Firebow. It's just regular Longbow.
No. In general, with other characters, synergy with other characters' feats.
Yeah,
because
I have.
Was it Fire Trap, Fire Bomb, and Firebow?
Yeah, all of them are tier 4s, and the only tier 3 is.
I have an answer for that.
Okay.
I have an answer for that.
Okay.
I asked that question because everyone in Montreal said, why the fuck doesn't he have Firebow? I won't say the developer's name, but one of the developers told us, and I quote, here is the reason, we wanted to give players an option for non-fire-based feat play.
Okay.
So I've got a question. I've got a question. Here's the question you should have asked. Why does he have the longest longbow animation in existence?
I actually didn't know that because I didn't play that much Jangu last time we were there. I was too busy taking notes.
Right.
I had a guy dodge twice once. Like he saw the bow dodged, realized it was too early, and then dodged again and dodged the other. What the fuck happened there?
I killed Shigs in a scrim because he dodged early on the longbow. He dodged on reaction to me pulling out the longbow animation and then got hit because he dodged so early.
Oh man.
Next level.
Yeah. So
that's it. You know, maybe that's the play. You just make them all so long, people just dodge.
Right. Man.
So early. I don't know.
So
and then I hit raw hit through a wall, but that's a different thing.
I saw that clip. Yeah, that was amazing. That pillar.
I hit raw hit through a pillar with longbow somehow.
The information that Verb just gave us actually is very interesting because what Ubisoft tends to boast on and why they won't do things to characters is their identity. And like I mentioned this before, Lawbringer's a counterattacker, so he has really high parry punishes, doesn't really have much in terms of offense because he's supposed to be a counterattacker. And they've said they're not going to touch the character anymore that would influence his identity. So then when Verb tells me we gave him non-firebow so people don't have to do anything with fire, that's just completely contradictory to me in what they've expressed before in the dev stream, that we want to maintain the identities of this character. why would you play a fire character if you wanted to do something that wasn't fire?
Spec-
Like it just doesn't. They're just inconsistent. Like it doesn't make sense to me.
Okay,
to
okay. To clarify this, Ubisoft's. If you've ever actually looked at the titles on those things, you know, like Counterattacker and whatnot, they actually just made no sense. They're all just
Yeah, the classic
Terrible.
the Alernikin
Yeah.
game show he does on his stream, like identify the hero based off their tags. That's a fun one. It's like the one that always trips me up every time is Shugoki's. Like Shugoki's got some weird tags. alongside
Disabler.
Berserker.
Yeah,
Disabler. Yeah.
he's disabler heavy hitter, I think.
yeah.
I like how
Yeah.
Konk's heavy hitter as well, even though Konk has no.
Konk is wide attacks. No, not Konk. Sorry, Berserker's like multi-hitter, wide attacker, like implying
No,
he hits
that's
tons of
it.
people.
He's harasser.
Yeah, he's harasser,
and
short range, I think,
Short range.
which is pretty
Which
accurate.
character was-
Hardly hit it.
Which character is listed as being like a multi-hitter? Like, or hits tons of people, but is like really. I might actually load up my For Honor and check that real quick.
Yeah, I,
'cause
was-
now I'm
I don't.
curious.
I don't actually remember that.
There's Aramusha's, who is fast attacks, feint, and
Yeah.
counter attacker.
Is it mix up intensive for some nonsense?
That's Centurion. Centurion's mix-up specialist.
Sense mix-up specialist. I like how Aramusha's is fast attacks, but he has like the same attack speed as almost every other character.
It's
in the game.
it's the deadly feints, Kawaii. Come on.
Yeah, the deadly feints. They're the same speed as the shamans,
Yep.
or you have the zone that's the same speed as everyone else's.
Oh wait, mix up intensive and melee specialist is sent. Okay. I'm sorry.
Yes, melee.
Sorry, dude. Sorry. Maybe it was Gladiator I was thinking of. Or no, he's Stamina Preserver. Never mind.
Glad is Stamina Preserver and mix-up intensive.
Yeah. Very
I'm loading up For Honor now because now I've got myself curious. I want to see what's going on here.
They're all a mess. They all don't make sense.
Yeah.
And they're all
Let me say something about the feats real quick. Crack made a good point in one of his latest. That Zerka is like one of the few characters that can actually change his playstyle with his feat loadout.
Yeah.
And I think Ubisoft wants that. Like, maybe aim for that, but most characters don't have the feats to actually.
The only characters that have
two
that
different ones, yeah.
yeah.
is like
You always have a best in slot. Maybe for one you have an option, but that's it. You
The
don't really
only
have like two
character-
separate loadouts. It's
the only
impossible.
character that had one besides Zerk was Old Shinobi, who is feat loadout between his tier 2 to tier 1 to 3. Your tier 4 was pretty much always nail bomb. You could run maybe Arrowstorm to clear mid, but with Shinobi, his feats actually had for a while had significant changes between what you needed and what you felt like you needed and what fitted your playstyle better. You had Bounty Hunter for better survivability in team fights. You had the Stun, which was good at OSing people for 1v1s or for anti-ganks. You had... What was the other one? What was his other tier 1? Oh, you had Stealth, which made your range GBs better.
Yeah.
You had, for tier 2, you had Shuriken, which was good because, Shuriken could randomly confirm 60 damage for some reason against shamans, mostly. It was pretty consistent against shamans because they'd try to bite you and then you just Shuriken them and they'd die. And then you had Smoke Bomb, which I am pitching to get banned from tournament, so it actually gets fixed. Because that feed is
Please do that, yeah.
garbage. That feed is
Oh.
buggy garbage.
I've just found something interesting. So I was looking through the tags in For Honor now, and I looked at Nobushi. Long range, versatile retreats.
Yes.
Viper's retreat got removed, or the one that allows you to retreat after getting hit when you hit the dodge button. That's gone now. She doesn't have that anymore. Her versatile retreats don't exist.
Yikes. Yikes.
Yeah. Anyway, actual feat diversity does not exist in
Yeah.
For Honor.
Yeah, and even
We
going
can
back
see
to the. I'm sorry, go.
We can see they want it. They want
They want
more
it, but
loadouts, but
they
then
don't.
it just it feels like they're not doing anything for it. Like we see in this patch, it just nerfed some. Just nerfing some of the
Yeah.
feats doesn't necessarily mean other feats get picked then because some of them are just not salvageable, but just garbage. You won't
Hmm.
pick them either. You just pick the, I don't know.
The best one.
Yeah.
And like the feat viability thing is also somewhat intrinsically tied to how viable the character is. Is like I can understand a bit more the Ubisoft mindset of, oh, we want to give Jianhu a bit more options for non-fire based play if you want with a regular longbow. That maybe could work if his kit actually worked normally without the fire stuff. Then maybe you could make an argument for it.
No, I
But-
mean you're running a longbow on that character because that's the only tier 3 you have. The character is so bad that you can change your feats. That's the issue with the game, is that once the characters get so bad, you're just changing your feat consistency is actually pretty different between the feats because the character is just so bad you have to make something work. Like Jianhu, I'm changing my feats all the time on that character because his feats don't synergize with each other in any way. So I have to change my feats constantly because I'm trying to find something that works. It's to the point where
each
I'm
time
like,
you switch, you just want the other one back because
yeah,
that's almost bad as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
They're just making
it's
it.
like,
Go ahead.
yeah. No, I was just gonna say, like, for his tier 3, I'm running all 3. His tier 2, his tier 2 is good, so you're not usually changing that.
Yeah.
His tier 1 you're changing all the time because you don't know whether you want the actual kunai or whether you want bounty hunter. His tier 4 is just like, what do you run? Because his tier 4 is interesting. It's like just strictly worse than Fire Flask.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. In my opinion, some people say that, oh, you can use it while people are in recoveries and that's pretty decent if they're all.
You can't use it indoors. That's a big problem.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a huge problem.
That too.
Like the big thing that I have with that feat is like you have to put so much more work into making that. In my opinion, you have to put so much more work into making that feat work as opposed to just aiming. Like, they have to be stacked. They have to be, they have to be stacked and in recoveries for that feat to work. And as opposed to the feat where, for Fire Flask, you can either hit it really well or make them in recovery, or they're in recoveries, right? You can either hit the dead center where they can't roll out of it, and it always confirms the damage, or they're in recovery, right? And then you can get it to hit.
It works alright if they are already in Fire Flask, just because they can't see the red circle.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Other
That's
than
super
that,
fun.
I'm starting to prefer Last Laugh, because at least like that way you're confirming
Ooh.
killing
Get a lot
someone.
of fun stuff with that. Yeah.
The Russians are making very good use of Last Laugh. I spectated some scrims a couple days ago, some Russian scrims.
Are they using the time bomb bug on that feat?
There's
Yeah.
a time bomb bug? What?
That's
Explain.
like, oh yeah, there's a bug
You
on
need
that
to unlock
feat.
it early.
Yeah, there's a bug on that feat where you can make it so that your body just becomes a ticking time bomb, and it will explode.
Yeah, I'll explain. If you're dead and your last laugh comes off cooldown, and your corpse explodes then.
Yeah.
Oh,
Interesting.
Your corpse becomes a time bomb.
It's basically a landmine.
Killer
Yeah.
Queen has
I-
entered the battlefield.
We're out here playing Siege.
Yeah. I
Actually, a stealth bot by Mistress. Just JoJo characters now confirm exploding corpses.
There you go.
I'm kind of wondering if the reason that they wanted to center this character around fire was because of Fire Flask. Because when I look at it, like the purpose of the character is to be good at team fights, and Fire Flask is one of the most ran feats for competitive. So to me, it seems like they were trying to make this character competitive, work off the Fire Flask that everybody else can throw so you can do more damage, do the kunai, be in team fights so you can be part of where those Fire Flasks are thrown. I mean, to me, when I look at the character, this seems like, it. Obviously I have no idea, but it seems like this is the thought process that they had behind it, to incorporate aspects of competitive that are relatively consistent. Competitive runs good team fighters, and competitive runs Fire Flask. And it seems like that's what this character is supposed to be.
The issue is that there is the only character that gets their tier 4 that has Fire Blast is probably like, at least in some, good amount of time before, like before endgame, right? Is like Raider. unless unless someone's just popping off on Shaman,
Right.
And getting
Yeah.
1v1s. But like with the way that feats work, with the way that Renown Gain works, most Vikings don't get Fire Flask until the late game because Lawbringer is usually the one that's clearing mid, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's probably the best way to get Renown is to clear mid, at least like the best consistent way. Besides, like anti-ganks and 1v1s with assassins. But like, Shaman's running around trying to gank. And so Shaman doesn't get her feats that fast because ganking doesn't give assassins that much renown. Neither does capping points or like clearing minions or anything. It has to be just 1v1s or 1vx's for assassins. Warlord wants to be defending a point. So Warlords is nice. But
BPs as well.
Warlord, BPs as well, but like BP doesn't get Fire Flask.
Right.
So
that's true.
Yeah.
He gets Umbral Shelter, which counters Fire Flask pretty well.
Yeah, not to mention that they made a fire-based character in a meta where Second Wind and Stalwart Banner and Umbral are being used.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I will say though, with the Vikings, they do have a natural advantage because 2 of their characters are viable picks in team compositions, the Shaman and Berserker, and both of them can run double trap, which you can get decently quickly. The tier 1 and the tier 2.
I mean, yeah, they have really good 1v1. They have the best. They have some of the best 1v1. They have the best 1v1er in Dominion, which is Shaman because of her traps.
That's a bloody good gankers too. Both Berserker and Shaman have great ganks.
Yeah.
GB Zone, GB Bleed.
GB Zone is not that good.
With Zerker,
Well,
really?
I don't know about that.
What's
You
that?
can almost kill somebody with a Zerker Raider if done properly.
I mean,
They'll get revenge, but they'll have less than 2 bars.
Hear him out. Let's see what he says.
So my issue with Zerg Zone has always been, you don't know when they're getting venge, and the other issue I have is that if you're Zerg Zoning and they get venge during the zone, you're automatically eating the punish.
Yes.
Surprise mechanics. Okay, I didn't think about that.
I personally think Shaolin's is better than Zerg's. Because Shaolin's, you can actually not do the punish if they get venge, and you won't get knocked down.
And it feeds less revenge, right?
And it also feeds similar amounts of revenge.
Okay.
It's just that I like Shaolin's better because Shaolin's tracks rolls. Shaolin's doesn't always get venge screwed over, but the rest of Shaolin's gets pretty bad.
Yeah.
So
not that easy to hit teammates with Shaolin.
Yeah.
That point.
Yep.
Yeah.
In regards to the synergy of Fire Flask and the Orbital Strike, do we really need feats that just instant kill? I mean,
Clearly,
if their intention was to have that synergy, but if the Fire Flask hits and then the other thing hits, do we really need that at the end? Like 2 people pressing one button?
Yes, because we have a hero that presses one button and instantly kills someone.
One, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just a general approach. I don't like the general.
That's a good point.
According to the Ubisoft team, because we have a one-shot mechanic in the game.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not to mention we have Jormungandr here for.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Twilight of the Gods.
Twilight of the Gods.
I don't think I'm in favor of one-shot feats or feats that do that much damage, but
I don't think anyone enjoys one-shot feats. It's just
no.
That exist.
Yeah, we don't need them, but I think something like Fire Flask is fine if they reduce the damage on it. I don't actually know the damage values.
It already got nerfed slightly, I think.
The Fire Flask is fine. Just give us alternatives. Give us back Catapult, man. Just make that feat usable, man.
Conqueror doesn't have tier 4s. I say that base Tobias is going to run into the chat and start screaming at me about Uninterruptible, but Conqueror doesn't have any tier 4s.
Uninterruptible is nuts. It's just that it's on Conk.
Yeah.
Uninterruptible is a nutty feat. It's amazing. It's just that it's on Conk.
Yeah. If people listening right now want a demonstration how good Uninterruptible is, just look at how good Juggernaut is on Lawbringer, because that's
no. Just look at how good Season 1 Shigoki was. or not season 1, but like pre-rework Shigoki.
Yeah, I was gonna say
pre-armor changes. That's what it is. Except
are we talking
except you can't get rid of it.
Are we talking post running backwards and forwards?
We just need to see.
I'm talking like you can GB people out of their attacks.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
Because you see red, you press guard break.
Yeah.
You win the duel.
GB on red.
GB on red.
I have bad memories of fighting like Sophie McSophie face in MMQ back in the day. I'm just constantly getting GB whenever I pressed a button on old Kensei. Like, oh,
Yeah.
not great.
It's just really hard tracking the time.
That feel when the power couple is dead. The real
Sophie
power
Oscar.
couple.
F.
Okay, so we originally just started talking about Jean Hu, and we kind of got off track. But we've pretty much covered everything I wanted to. And from a character design perspective, it seems like they want him to be more team fight oriented. He doesn't do it very well. There's really not a lot that he does well. Most of what he can do is done poorly. It's just poorly executed. In terms of what he needs to be competitive, it seems to be more. It's more around the feats and then some number changes to make him more competitively viable than anything else. And if they're wanting to go for this Mully type unblockable mix-up thing, they just need to, because that seems like what the character is supposed to be doing. Like he has great team fights with his wide arcing hitboxes, or supposed to be with the hitboxes of the zone and with his unblockables. And it seems like they're trying to supplement his 1v1, the lack of 1v1 with the unblockable mix-up. So it seems like they're trying to make a character that does everything well. The team fights well and that 1v1's well, but they just haven't done it yet, and some number tweaks are in order to make the character. I think they're just too ambitious, and because of that, they didn't release the character with his full potential. It's just what it seems like to me.
That's a nice summary.
Yeah. All right. So then, if we don't have anything else for Jean Hu, let's move on to something I'm excited to talk about, which is spectator mode. Verb is excited to talk about this. Just so you guys know, follow Verbalocity's channel. He spectates scrims and does commentary, and it's super good. Very informative stuff. So check him out. So let's start with you, Verb, since it's something you're excited to talk about. We had a certain iteration of spectator that we had during the Montreal event. The testing grounds, and then the Montreal event. Wow, Danko, F Verbalocity. Wow, dude.
Love you too, Danko.
Thank you. True. Yikes. So from the original test that you had to now, how does using spectator mode feel?
Spectator mode has both evolved nicely and not changed that much simultaneously. Like, full disclosure, a select couple people have had access to spectator in an early access form for a while now, ever since just after the Jormungandr reveal event. But of course, since it was early, we couldn't use it publicly unless we were allowed to. The first time we were allowed to use it publicly was during the spectator tournaments. Yeah. If you remember those back in the day, those wonderful events. And and I've been able to sort of get to grips with it here and there. Probably the biggest evolutions that have been made between then and now in the current form and the beta is we can see indicators finally. If you spectate someone, you can. There's a new controller method for selecting characters, which is way nicer for controller. Which is essentially a defensive team is top. Is it? I'm looking on the stream. Defensive team is top left. Attackers are top right, and then you use the left bumper to select one team, right bumper to select the other, and while you're holding that down, you use the face button to select the characters themselves. And in the UI, it will show the face buttons you've got available to you on their physical person. So it's way easier now to, like, on a controller. I see two people fighting in the distance. I'm not exactly sure. Their silhouettes look kind of the same. Mash the bumpers and see which face buttons come up. And it's a lot easier to use that to actually
I just like the ability to press 1, 2, 3, 1 to 8, and I get...
Yeah, that's the other option. That is in theory the option you should be using because it's cleaner and looks more professional. But for people who are still learning the spectator system, the bumper system is much welcome because that allows you to see the face buttons go up on screen. But on mouse and keyboard, you can use 1 through 8 on the number row. Hopefully, they allow you to rebind it to the number pad because that's what I'm used to from the Smite days.
Can you say something just real quick?
Yes.
Because you mentioned controller and mouse keyboard. Both works really well. That was something I was surprised about. I thought they get one right in, but no, it works really well. Like moving through the map with mouse, with controller, both works really nicely. They did a great job there, I think.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm slightly annoyed about is the ability to not move up or down. I couldn't find that, like the ability to actually like move.
That's
up.
You can.
Space control.
Yeah.
Space
Oh,
control.
Space control.
It's either the triggers on controller or space control. You could if you go into the settings of the game, there's a spectator control section there that you can look at.
Okay,
Yeah.
like that's so weird to me, where you can't actually move the camera. You can move the camera up, like away, side to side, and then I couldn't figure out how to move it like up or
Pitch
down.
is based control for down, space for up.
That's so weird. Why is it not there? Why is it not like WASD, and then for moving the camera in like different directions, and then space control for zooming in and out? Like that should be
Because
reversed.
you could use the mouse wheel for zooming in and out, and then
you use W and S for zooming out.
What?
Yeah.
You can use
I
W
thought you
and
moved
S.
around with. I thought you used WASD to move around the camera.
No, you don't. You move around the camera with A and D.
Which camera mode you're in?
Yeah, there are different camera modes. That is true.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's like tactical
free-
view and then
free.
stuff.
Free.
I'm pretty sure you use WASD and free to move.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Now you've got me paranoid, freezing. Booting the game back up again. Now you've got me doubting yourself.
I don't know which mode I was in, but when I was doing
Also,
it,
I said
was
freeze. Kawaii,
spectating-
damn it.
I was spectating Hotspot versus some Russian team. Can't remember the name. And I was trying to do it, and I
Help
kept
again,
on
boys.
using
Yeah, the help again.
W and S were my zooming in and out.
Yeah, I think
Felt
that's
very
TAC
natural
cam.
when I tested it.
I think that's TAC
Yeah.
cam.
Yeah, for me,
They've
that's
thrown
it's
off.
like mouse forwards and backwards on the wheel. I'm booting the game up now. Now I'm curious. But anyway, while I'm doing that, controls
Anyway,
for the game
but
are
besides
non-rebindable.
that, I like
Yeah.
spectator mode. I hope for tournaments we get actually a dedicated person that a person that's dedicated themselves just to maps, like just to the spectator mode. That would be nice for casters, because having to cast and also do spectator stuff is not what most esports do. I'm pretty sure when we esports.
Yeah,
most
usually you have a
esports-
dedicated observer.
yeah,
However,
you
to
have,
do
you, have
that,
a, you have a dedicated observer, which is kind of annoying, but that'd be nice.
However, to do that as an aside, there's a feature in the game that's not in yet. Synchronized parties would need to happen first.
Yeah.
To be able
Yeah.
to actually see in to the same game together on the same time code, because the spectator tournaments that happened recently, Kawaii, basically to do those, Raven was the one on production streaming it, so he streamed it to Twitch, but then also
Right.
simultaneously was running a Discord screen share that me and Vivid would watch to actually get the feed live, or at least as close to live as we could. So that's the way you
so
currently work around it. It's really janky, and for me, someone whose my upload is crap, I've got like 5 megabits per second upload. I
Yeah.
can't physically support doing a stream and a good quality Discord screen share at the same time. So there's the two features that would be required is you would need synchronized parties for that, and then arguably maybe synchronized replays as well. But that's another thing entirely.
Or maybe make it so that we could just join the game.
Yeah.
As a 9th person, as opposed to just spectating someone.
The way Spectator is designed, that's next to impossible, and I'm not sure if they want to do
Nice.
it that way.
Thank you, Ubisoft. Thank you for the Ubisoft uniqueness, which makes everything just so much more difficult for everyone else.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm looking at Spectator controls right now. WASD is move, but it's also zoom in and out.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
WS is also zoom in and out. So I think that might just be for when you are in either TAC cam or if you are locked on. I don't think the zooming in and out is on in the free cam mode.
Yeah, I think free cam you use WASD to move, and in TAC
That's a
cam,
tactical
yeah,
one.
in TAC cam you do use it to zoom in and out.
Yeah. I'm going to spectate someone's
Alright.
game randomly just to double check that, but keep going.
So Freeze, from a content creator standpoint, has Spectator been something that you can use in your videos with the changes, or is how your current structure of your videos, is it going to remain the same?
For some things, I was looking forward to using. For example, I want to make a video explaining revenge and tags and stuff, and having like a bird's eye view and being able to number people and show stuff. That would be really nice. But I think most people will use Spectator for montages and stuff, especially people with AMD graphics cards probably will be happy, just because right now, you see Blackburn, for example, does a lot of these fly through the map or show the character. He uses Ansel for that, but it's just NVIDIA. People can use that. Now that it's in,
old Playfiends montage is
yeah, no, but you will see a lot of people use it.
Yeah.
And now you can actually use it with multiple people, or just you can actually have a proper director and then join the match and then just film that again. So yeah, I think people will take advantage of that. To what extent and how much effort they will put in remains to be seen. But I think we will see a lot. People will try around with it. And just by trying to fly around in the map, I think I don't know, just the first time I tried, it felt really good. So I think people can make really nice looking stuff.
Okay. Yeah, so it seems like for the most part, like this kind of fires on a lot of cylinders, like from a competitive perspective, from like a content creator perspective, from like casting perspective. It seems like this is a great direction for it to go. I know for me personally, there are a couple of things that I would like to see, which Verb kind of already touched on, is I'd like to see multiple people be able to join a group, and then the group leader spectate a game. So all three of those people are watching the game at the same time, so you don't have to Discord screen share. It would also be nice if you could have different people be able to control different parts. So like there's I don't know the names, but there's two casters. Usually one does one job and one does another. One does the micro, one is the macro. There's
one usually is the play-by-play guy, so the yelly, shouty, hyper guy. That's usually my job. And then the second guy, like an Alern, for instance, or a Kawaii, back when I casted 2v2s with you, is usually the chair 2 or the analytical guy.
Yeah.
They're the guy who's looking for the macro stuff.
Right, yeah. So if both of those people want to look at different things. I think for the most part, you can have the macro person control the thing until something happens where you need to look at a fight for a play-by-play, and you can do that, but it would be nice to have both to be able to control it separately. I think that would be a big improvement for the casters and for the competitive players, because VOD reviews are a thing. Like, people will go to watch their own gameplay, and this is something that you can't do with this because you can't save the replay. You can't go back and watch it with your team to see, like, okay, what's happening here, what's going on here. That's why people have streamed, is because they've relied on going back, watching the VOD for the stream, for the team or for a specific player, to see what happened. And the unfortunate part about that is you're only getting one perspective from the VOD. So I'm hoping that eventually Spectator will allow us to save them to our computer, or something like that for us to look at.
I wonder, I haven't checked, I wonder if you can find it in the actual files for the game.
No, it's not in the files right now.
It's not? Can you not find it?
Because basically the way the game's engineered right now, from what I've been told and talking with the developers, the game would require more re-engineering to get replays properly functioning, because they have to develop the pathway first for the things to be saved and all that. Like, this isn't Unreal Engine 4 where every single Unreal Engine 4 game has replays automatically saved. That's why, like, Marco Yolo can make, like, baller ass, like, Mordhau montages off of random games, because it automatically saves the replay, and you can just go back in and spectate it as if it was a live game, but as a replay. Like, For Honor wasn't developed with that in mind. It's like they only could even start on Spectator when the dedicated servers were done. So, like, back to the Wallace and Gromit analogy of putting the train tracks down as you're going along. It's gonna take a while before we get replays, probably.
Yeah. And I guess as the competitive community is right now, it's still relatively small. Something like that may not necessarily be focused on, because it's just there's not enough people, so they may not deem it as necessary. But I think a quality of life change, something like that, would make it feel more competitive, would make it feel like you can actually improve yourself as a player in more ways. Like you get feedback from your teammates, you get feedback from your opponents, and you do scrims and whatever. But this is another aspect of being able to review your play in certain situations, because you can do the replay save, then you can go through it as if it were live and see different aspects. If it's rework from the ground up, it will probably take a very long time, like Verb is saying. But I hope they do it, because I think it'd be great for everybody, from like a content creator perspective, from a comp perspective. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely things that should be worked on first. I'm not saying it should take priority, but I think it should happen.
Like currently, I like that spectator mode's out. I wish it came out a little bit later, because well, first I wish it came out earlier, back when comp was alive. Now I wish it came out later, because comp is dead and needs to be revived. First, for the spectator mode to truly be like super useful, right? Like I would like a 4v4 ranked back.
Yeah.
Like a solo queue 4v4 ranked with actual rewards first, so that way we incentivize people to play competitively, and then bring in the spectator mode. But like the order of events seems a little bit backwards, right? Because the comp scene is essentially just like what, 2 teams in each region, 2 to 3 teams, 2 teams in one region and 3 in another, right? Which is probably the lowest it's ever been right now.
When was the last time they mentioned ranked Dominion?
When
Didn't
they
they say
removed it.
something in a reveal stream?
I'm pretty sure the last time I heard about it was when they removed it.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Maybe I'm just imagining things. But yeah,
we've
I actually
been-
think that's gonna happen anytime soon, because
Yeah, same.
I don't know, I gave up my hopes on anything ranked in this game.
I just want something, man. Something that
I
like,
understand, yeah.
like, come on, man. Like, please not rank.
It's not that hard, it's already in. It's already in, like, just need to tweak it just a little bit.
They haven't made. All they really need is actual rewards.
Yeah.
And make it so that you can't 4-stack. And then you're good. Like, that's it.
I will say though, I completely understand where you're coming from with the idea of perhaps Spectator would have been more effective in the past or in the future. Personally, for me at least, I'm thankful it's just public now, that we can fucking use it.
Right.
Like,
That's
now
true.
that it's actually available. Like, one of the biggest things for me is going back to the idea you were talking about, Cerezu, of like you can't being able to record VODs for like match stuff. Right now, at least, with Spectator being out and publicly usable, the workaround of the scrim cam that I've been like testing out now is available. Like, the common, for those of you that don't know, who are not massive of the comp scene, the way scrims normally happen, here's the normal timeline. Someone will say, "Hey, who wants to scrim?" They'll act like the people who want to do potentially scrims. People will plus up. They'll like basically throw up their hand saying, "Hey, I want to scrim." That'll take like maybe an hour or 2 to like get going. Finally, a scrim will get locked in. People are ready to play. And then you get the Mexican standoff. All right, stream. I don't want to stream. My connection chip. Stream. And no one wants to stream. But everyone wants to see the stream because they want to, 1, see the scrim, and 2, have it preserved. So now that you've got Spectator, either A, you can just watch it yourself, or B, in the case of someone like me, you can go and watch that scrim yourself, have the VOD recorded and uploaded, and categorized so people can go back and watch it later. It's the workaround is there. Yes, it's not a fully functional replay system like Cerezu said would be much nicer to go back posthumously and check it, but at the very minimum, we have something now with Spectator. And I prefer that over having a like more impactful launch either previously or further into the future.
Yeah, it's for where it's at right now. It's at a pretty decent spot. There are more things that could be done to it to make it significantly better, but it sounds like there's going to be a need for a restructuring of how the game is for that to happen, and there are more pressing things to worry about that are still in the game.
One thing I want to ask: stats. what stats do you guys want to have displayed in the match? What do you want to like be able to switch between?
Yeah.
I mean, in RTS games, you have the APM stat.
Give me.
Oh, let me spam real
This
quick.
is
Let
a
me spam
stat
this.
I've wanted for the longest time. Give me total damage done,
Yeah.
please.
Something
I
like
want to see who has done the most damage in the game. Please, like overall,
Yes.
in like every game mode, just give me that. I want to see
But that's an easy thing. Stuff like percentage of attacks blocked thrown at you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Like,
really
I
good.
want-
at
Unblockables
so
parried.
it carries more, but things like that. I mean, I'd be interested in it.
Yeah,
I don't know if
absolutely.
many viewers would be, but yeah,
Yes,
it's,
give me
give me
uh,
numbers.
yeah.
give me like
exactly.
I think for parries it'd have to be like total, because not like just unblockable parries. I think total parries is nice. Or
What do
like
you-
light parries would be kind of cool, because light parries aren't as common anymore because of the way that the meta's kind of evolved around parrying, especially in fours, where it's more about parrying heavies than lights, because of the stam drain and because you won't get mullied.
Kitty.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think breaking it down to unblockable parries and something like that would be useful as well, because then you could really see like your own proclivities when it came to how you parried and stuff. You're literally scratching at my leg because you want up here, now you want down. Away with you. Away with you, animal dude. Holy.
I want to see a minions killed stat.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because that's definitely important.
Yeah. They already
Minions-
tracked that back in the day with the orders, didn't they? So it can't be that hard to just
Minions.
throw up the number.
Stat. I'd like to see damage done. I would like to see
There's one big stat I think that people are forgetting that I'd love to see be able to be pulled up by people spectating in a chart form, a live chart. That is renown gained over time.
Yeah.
Kind of like whenever you see a gold chart in a MOBA. I'd love.
Oh
to be able to
yeah,
put, like,
I'd love to see assassin renown gain. Just like never leave the bottom.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to see like over time, like pull up a chart and see like what's a total team's like renown gain, like up and down compared to each other over time, and individual people's renown gain as well. Like being able to see like renown per minute, and then also renown gain total. That would allow someone
I would like to see
illustrate-
a score stat that's like a graph as well. I would like to see a graph score stat, like a
score stat.
Yeah, like
the total
your
score.
objective score.
Oh,
Not score
you
brand.
score-
Not a score brand
Yeah,
chart.
I thought score stat is an SKOR,
Yeah.
and it was some sort of like in joke I wasn't aware of. Oh, like total score. Yeah, absolutely.
A special unit just invented for Fauna.
Yeah, the score brand value.
Yeah. I think something like that would make sense. Like I play a little bit of WoW, and there's an add-on on there called Recount, or Detail.
God bless
or-
Recount.
Do you use Details? Because it's actually much better. At least,
No, I don't think that was out when I played.
yeah.
I played
Detail
really well.
basically.
I haven't played since like Legion.
The difference is the Details will show you like mages who decurse something, healing done, healing received, damage done, damage received, and different utility things. I think something like that could easily apply to For Honor. Like how many times did a shaman bleed or something like that? Like to see how a team plays would be great for like watching. Like if you're gearing up for a tournament, like let's go watch how these guys play. Like do they how successful are they at shaman ganks? How long can they stall on a point? Like how well do they defend a point? How long do team fights in mid usually last? Like so then you can look at like why some of these things happen. I think it's something that could be very helpful.
Like kills in 1vx situations would be one.
Yep.
Or deaths in 2xv1 situations could be one. Like died in a gank.
I wouldn't worry too much about getting too deep into the weeds on certain stats.
Yeah. I mean,
while the capability is in the game for things, because the game tracks like unhonorable fights, so you can track 1vx's in the game right now anyway because of the renown bonuses. I would still much prefer the basic stats of like.
Oh
how
my
much
god, the renown system
Yeah.
is so bad.
I would
In Dominion, not in Breach.
can rant
Apparently in
about that
Breach it's
forever.
fine. I remember Freeze video talking about Breach renown being just fine. but
Did I?
Yeah. Are you sure about that? Have you seen the minion renown gain?
I'm talking in
Okay.
terms of consistency. That's all I'm talking about.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, have you seen the renown gain on the minion killing in Reach?
Yeah.
I could play Scent and get tier 4 by phase 1.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
What?
Just kill minions.
That's a
It gives an absurd amount of renown killing the pikemen.
Isn't it like 21 or 22, something like that?
You go Scent, you pick body count, you spawn camp the minions, and then you get tier 4 by phase 1. That's how much renown.
well
you
then.
get.
Very sick.
I actually wasn't aware of that.
That's how bad it is in Breach for renown.
Hey, he's considered a hybrid,
Why-
right? Sint is?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Scent's
that's
hybrid.
part of why, I'm sure.
Although
But
that's
is there even a
line you think-
difference in Breach?
Yeah,
Does-
it's like sorry, go on.
I don't know. I don't play enough Breach to know that. Is there a difference in renown gain depending on class in Breach?
I would assume so.
I think so.
But
Yeah,
maybe.
I would assume so, but
Maybe.
is it
I
really?
haven't checked.
Yeah, I
maybe
don't
I
know.
don't
Either. That's what I'm
But
not sure.
I do want to say, even the class labels now aren't necessarily accurate. Doesn't Zhanhu get like Vanguard get renown gain even though his class is a hybrid?
Yeah, he gains renown out of like 3 or 4 things.
I have no idea about his.
You can
renown
check
gain,
in the
but he
move
has-
set. It'll tell you how he gains the most renown. And there's like
Yeah,
3
'cause
things.
I'm fairly sure I heard some people talking about how he gets Vanguard level like style renown game even though his class is a hybrid. I think. At least I want to say. I could be pulling that out my ass, but I want to say that's what I heard.
Lord
Click on Otto's link. Just
Lord Illuminous says that renown and breach is even for everyone regardless. Okay. Wait, what's this link?
Oh.
What's this link? Is it a safe link?
It's a scoreboard,
Just-
and it's a scoreboard from Verona, and it
Jeez.
lots of points.
You
Kawaii
look
has
at the
been farming.
takedowns, and then yeah, he was
6
So-
you were
takedowns.
farming now, weren't you?
Okay, for those of you
yeah.
audio listeners currently listening right now, it's a
It's just
link
really
to
zoomed
a
in for me, and I couldn't see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
it's a scoreboard link. It's Kawaii after a game of Breach, 90 minutes and 10 seconds. He's top of the scoreboard
Yeah.
with 5,100 total score, 4,956 of which is objective, with 267 score a minute.
With 6 takedowns.
And with 6 takedowns.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the next closest takedowns to him on his team is 21.
And has almost 4, and has like a little bit
Like
over
3 times less.
3,000.
Yeah. In
Over 3,000 less renown.
Yeah.
Or over 2,000. Sorry.
Very cool.
No. Over 3,000. I was right.
Numbers are hard.
Yeah.
Numbers are hard. I'm dyslexic. Math is hard.
Yeah, so
I know, I agree with you. I'm dumb. I just don't like numbers.
so it seems I guess we don't have confirmation, but if there aren't any differences in renown and breach, then I guess that doesn't really matter. But in Dominion, it is incredibly inconsistent, and I kind of agree. I think it was Crack who said that they should do away with the bonus renown stuff, like a 1vx renown, a revenge renown, a survivor renown, or a savior renown, or
they
something
should
like
do
that.
away with the goddamn team kill renowns.
Yeah.
Those are actually just so annoying. You win
Yes.
you win both fights around the same time across the map. Congratulations. You probably both your entire team has like tier 2.
Yeah, it's true. You don't even have to be a part of the fight, I don't think, to get it either.
You don't. It's global.
Yeah, so you can
If
just be
if if
BP
your
or something
team gets,
boosting.
like, yeah, if your team gets like a triple kill around the map and maybe an ace or something, the VP will get his feats.
Right. Which he's already getting increased renown gain, because if he's boosting a point, he's technically defending it, so he gets extra renown.
And he's also a heavy, and since a heavy is defending a point, he gets even more renown.
Right. Yep. True.
Snowball.
Yeah, huge snowball. Flashbacks to Sanctuary Bridge matches where you lose the first 2 team fights and you lose the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
But tying it back into spectator mode, though, with Breach specifically, thank God we finally can now watch Breach matches in spectator, because before, in the early access stuff, you couldn't watch Breach matches. It didn't work. So I think maybe the only mode in the game you can't watch is Tribute, maybe? That might be a lie. I haven't tried spectating a Tribute match because I couldn't find one. But the hashtag remember the 3v3
Oh wait, we
tournaments.
can spectate tribute now. All right, this is
I don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. I don't
Wait.
know. I'm not sure if you can spectate Tribute or not.
No,
because I
I
haven't
said
tried.
Breach.
I think
I said
Yeah, but
breach.
Breach now.
Yes,
sorry,
you
yeah,
can
Breach
spectate
now.
breach, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can.
Breach now.
All
You
right,
can.
good. That means that I can host my pissing off the comp scene breach tournament.
Yeah,
It's
and that's what I
great,
wanted
dude.
to talk about.
Great.
Breach, like, unironically, I am so excited to commentate Breach matches in Spectator because my background is MOBAs, like with Smite. And Breach is basically For Honor with some MOBA mechanics that like map control and neutral jungle camp in the form of the Guardian, lane pushing, side objectives. Like,
Yeah.
I would adore watching that stuff. But the problem is the rule sets right now don't determine ties. And so it's a bit iffy.
So you know what? I'm here for you. I have the rule set. We're going season 1 Overwatch. If you tie, you coin flip for first phase.
Oh,
Great.
There we go.
Great.
We're going full season 1 Overwatch, boys.
Oh, you Overwatch the game?
Yeah, the
I was like,
game,
hang on,
yeah.
Season 1 play and Overwatch.
Yeah.
Oh, then you said like the coin flip. Like,
Yeah.
oh god, bad memories, very
We're
bad
going
memories.
Season 1 Overwatch. Did you play Overwatch Freeze? I assume not
No.
by the look on your face. In season 1 Overwatch, season 1 Overwatch rank, if you tie, like both teams finished the map. In season 1 Overwatch ranked, and this was also in competitive, I'm pretty sure.
Yes,
The
it
way they
was.
would determine ties was the game would flip a coin for you, and that coin determined whether or not you attacked or defended for the first point of the map. And you would play attack or defense for the first point, and whoever won that one phase won the whole game.
Yep. Very cool.
How do
Actual
you win
RNG.
first phase Breach as defender?
Yes.
You're
So if you
nuts. That
yes,
is a-
exactly. That's
can't
it.
win that.
That's it.
Yeah.
There we go. I
Amazing.
mean, neither could you in Overwatch on some maps because you had reduced time. Because that's probably what I'd do. I'd reduce times and ticket count.
Yeah.
For first phase by some number, and then to make it more fair for defenders. But like it was like reduced time to cap the first point, and some points, especially on what were called hybrid maps, which were essentially you had to cap the first point and then escort the objective. Those maps, some of them were ridiculously hard because like Numbani, for example, has a really hard to take first point.
It does.
And getting attacker on that point on season 1 was like almost impossible to win because it was so hard to siege that one point in the meta. It was an interesting time.
Yeah, so tie breaking for Breach is the only big crux, at least right now for me, in terms of like competitive and watching it in Spectator.
It's okay,
At least-
guys. I've solved it. We're just coin flipping.
You haven't solved it.
I solved it.
You haven't solved it, sir.
Yeah.
Just make RNG.
I'm a big
You probably
minus for
can't
these
even-
tournaments. Go ahead, Freeze.
You probably can't even find people to test out the ticket limit in the first phase.
No, I probably won't. But I'm just gonna guess.
I'm just gonna guess.
I'm just gonna guess. Put like a large. Find some way to get a large, like raise a bunch of money to get a large prize pool, and then piss off the entire comp scene.
Yo, Jeebus said he'd play. Jeebus is a plus, so you have one person.
Yeah, let's go.
I
Let's
commentated. I would be so down for commentating
Just
that.
figuring
Like,
it out.
I'm gonna start putting a donation goal in my stream, so that way we can get a prize pool for this garbage.
Speaking of bullshit tournaments, random side note: shout out to the old 3v3 tribute max feats high damage.
High
tribute
damage.
tournament.
Yeah.
Yo, that's no, you guys are missing the real game mode, the Call of Duty game mode, where you play skirmish on what was it, the new night map, the secluded keep. You play secluded keep skirmish with no indicators and lethal damage.
Sounds great. Well,
Sounds so random.
It's-
Incredibly
It's
random.
great. It's
Like,
great.
who-
It's amazing.
Who came
You
up
like
with that?
randomly you randomly die to traps like their claymores. It's the Call of Duty game mode.
Great, yeah,
You die
that's-
to projectiles instantly.
awesome.
Love it. 10 out of 10.
Sounds great. Okay, so then this was all supposed to be under the guise of Spectator. Is there anything else anybody else wanted to say about Spectator before moving on to our last topic? Okay, go ahead,
Just very
Vern.
quickly. So Spectator, like right now, in its current state, is like a solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
We got it. It works decently well. Stability wise, I've had some decent crashing. Like if I was to use it for an actual like big like money tournament, I'd be a little nervous, but not too much.
Yeah.
Apart from that, the only feature that I'm really concerned with getting immediately is synchronized parties.
Yeah.
And maybe the ability to jump in mid-game, but like that one's a secondary for me. Replays are much more for YouTubers like a Havoc or a Marco Yola would severely appreciate a replay system more than most competitive players would, although admittedly for watching back like competitive VODs, that'd be nice. But for me right now, I am super happy that Spectator is in the wild now and usable, because it's already gonna, like, I'll want people to scrim more because it will be streamed more probably. All we need now is like competitive itself to get a bit of a kick up the arse, because for as much as I am optimistic about it, all you need to do is have a nice, calm chat with Kawaii to all of a sudden feel distressing depression wash over one's body at the rate that scrims happen.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know, man, it was like 3 or 4 days ago you were streaming scrims, and I couldn't count how many times that you crashed. And then the annoying part, it wouldn't be it would be, but it would be better if you could spectate from where you left off instead of having to spectate and then you're starting completely over. So if you're halfway through a match and it crashes, I'm pretty sure when you go back to spectate, you start from the beginning.
Yes, that is how it works.
So that'll slow tournaments down. We've all had experiences of a 5, 6, 7, however many hour EU spectator tournament that was.
Yeah, that's what happened with the spectator tournament. Like literally happened last time. Like one or two crashes from Raven's end completely killed the whole match basically.
Yeah. So
and most people ended up buggering off and going watching the other streams instead.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Like Clutch's stream at one point had more viewers than Raven's stream. Because of that.
Even 1 point for a significant chunk of time, but once we started getting the technical problems, it was game over.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Freeze?
What did I say? Oh yeah. That you basically have to skip the match.
Yeah, you
just can't go back in. You can't will you re-commentate all that? Everyone's gonna get bored. So no.
Right.
Then you just skip and hope another match is in progress. You can join.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. I think if the option was there to start from the beginning or whatever you choose from, I would be best. Just because you can have a match that's it's breaking right now and you join, but you can still start from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just have to hope no one will spoil it in the chat because that will happen. But yeah,
right. Or
I like the option.
Or at least try and keep it to where there's like a quote unquote featured stream. Like you'll have like in Smash, for example, if there's a big tournament going on for like Melee or Ultimate or something, not every match is streamed. There's just like featured matches. And you can just spectate those to try and help reduce that. But at the same time, again, if you still crash, then you're like Freeze said, you're just realistically you're gonna skip it because you're gonna be like 5 minutes behind.
Something completely different. Is it CS:GO where you get rewards for spectating in-game comp matches?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yes, if there's any big tournaments going on,
they're really the majors.
Both Dota and
Dota is it a Valve thing then?
Yeah, it's a Valve thing. So Dota and CS:GO both have the ability to where you can spectate the competitive LAN games in the client, in there, not just from a stream thing. You can go into the game, spectate it there, and then you get explain for people who are watching.
Oh no, I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'm not sure if it's stickers or something. I really don't know. But in general, you think that would be something? Get rewards for watching tournaments? We'd have to get UB's support there.
It depends on how they want to do it.
But they monetize that whole thing, don't they? So
the most rewards I could see feasibly working right now, at least for me, Freeze, would be turning on drops for tournament streams. Twitch drops.
That would be even better.
That would be the most... Yeah,
you don't even have to do it in game, but on Twitch. At least we know that works.
we just had a Twitch drops season right now because, of course, Twitch drops are basically free view botting on Twitch. And seeing the amount of numbers that jumped up on the directory just from drops, being able to announce hey, we got a big tournament coming up, Twitch drops will be enabled, chat will become a wretched hive of scum and villainy, but you'll get way more eyes on the tournament and potentially on sponsors. So
the
options there.
That would actually be really nice. Just don't even need them in the game, but on Twitch, perfect idea actually.
So this actually kind of reminded me of something I was going to I had forgotten about, but we were all talking before the stream started, and Freeze had asked us a question about what would happen to now these competitive players' streams for it when spectator mode drops, because everybody would stream tournaments and everything like that because there's no spectator mode. This is really the only way they could watch the tournaments. So this is a question I would like to pose to you guys as well, which is what Freeze said, is like, does spectator mode influence how much people will both stream tournaments and people who will watch the tournaments? If they're friends with somebody that they know is in the tournament, they can just go into the client and watch.
I can explain really quick what I meant with that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because if we want sponsors for tournaments, these sponsors obviously want something back. They want their names out there. They want, I don't know, give codes out. They want these viewers to buy something. They want something out of that. And if you can't show them that you have a significant number of people, of viewers in the stream, they're not likely to give you anything.
Right.
And as we have it right now, a lot of the tournaments get streamed by the players themselves. So you kind of have to, I don't know, you can't, prohibit them basically to stream.
Yeah, the only way
all the viewers need to be on the where it's being cast and all that, just to show numbers for sponsors. Yeah, that's it. And I don't know how well people will take that, or if they're willing to do that, the players themselves, because I understand for them at the beginning they might not get a lot of, I don't know, tournament money, but the stream, if they don't stream, it's a cut in their revenue at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The biggest example for me, because I have a really pertinent example of this, the biggest like case for that, of like someone not being like, seeing like, hey, please don't stream from your end, let us do it, and not wanting to do it, would be Clutchmeister. Clutchmeister right now makes more money just streaming the tournaments than he often wins from actually winning prize money in the tournaments, just from viewer donations, subs, adverts, Zaster, all the stuff he's got going on.
Yeah.
So the only way you would get that man to actually refuse to stream a big money tournament that's being commentated is to get him to sign a fucking contract, because I do not see him looking at his numbers, looking at his revenue, seeing all the stuff he gets from donations. Like, you know, if he pops off, he often might get like a couple $100 thrown in from someone who's very over exuberant with their wallet.
Yeah.
And they're like that kind of thing. I don't see him giving that up for the sake of the primary spectator stream getting the lion's share of the views. It's not like a LAN where you can't exactly stream the thing because you're on LAN, therefore everyone has to watch it. This being an online tournament, you're going to get that. And unfortunately, with the way Spectator is right now, you don't have to worry about that in a game like, say, Rainbow Six Siege, because Siege does it the traditional way of having them in the case of Siege, the 11th player, because it's 5v5 plus Spectator. So it's the 11th player. And it's in the lobby, it's live. So you can have the Spectator view, but the players are still free to stream their end, and they're often encouraged. But in For Honor, there's a minimum technical delay of 10 seconds on the Spectator, plus any fuckery going on, plus any problems. It's like we saw in the Spectator Showcase tournaments, the Steel tournaments, if that delay gets too long, doesn't matter how good your casters are, doesn't matter how good production is, people are just going to go watch the one that's in real time.
Right.
It's like, they don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's understandable too. It's like, why would you want to watch something on delay and potentially get it spoiled when you can just go to like Clutchmeister's stream and watch it live? That's one of the biggest problems right now.
Yeah, for sure. Kauai, do you have any thoughts on this question that Freeze has kind of posed between competitive players streaming tournaments versus spectator, and like the effects that has from like a viewer perspective, sponsor perspective, stuff like that?
I mean, I would obviously like it if everyone didn't stream during the official stream. At least, you know, they might be. I would be okay if they streamed matches that weren't on the mainstream, right? So at least those were out. But like streaming matches that are on the mainstream is kind of an issue.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, just
willingness.
keeping it to where people have to go to the main stream, or there's the Ubisoft stream, or like whoever's TOing, to basically give them and inherently the game and the mode the exposure, instead of going to Clutch's stream or or anybody else to stream, we are giving more exposure to that person when it's supposed to be about the tournament. And it's not necessarily the case if people are streaming over it. And then, because these popular streamers, like Verb said, Clutch, for most of that tournament, he had more viewers than the mainstream.
Yeah.
Okay. So if there's nothing else for Spectator that we want to say, we'll move on to our last topic, which is going to be crossplay. This is something that they haven't said that they were going to do, if like from anything from For Honor, but there was like an article like 2 or 3 weeks ago, if I remember correctly, saying that Ubisoft wanted to enable crossplay for all of their games. Now I know this is an idea that people float around a lot and people want to happen because they want to play with their friends who are like on Xbox to PS4, Xbox to PC, PS4 to PC, which is like fun in theory and good in theory, but I think there are going to be some problems. So Kwai, from your perspective, is crossplay in general a good idea?
I think it's needed. Actually,
Okay.
I think it's needed for console players specifically, because for some reason I'm so confused. Console players confuse me. Like, I don't understand how console players can lose their own tournaments consistently. It doesn't make sense to me, right? It should be easier in theory to transfer from a console to PC, right? Because essentially all you're doing is getting an upgrade, right?
Right.
But to be physically downgrading yourself, not being able to react, having input delay on all your stuff, and some people even switching like what their control functions are, right? I don't know. I don't think you're even able to add like, the can you add controller macros onto console? I don't think you can.
I have no idea. I've never played.
No, you can rebind in the dashboard, I think. But
Can
that's
you
it.
add?
Not macros. You can like rebind one specific key.
Can you
Oh,
make a
that's-
zone bind?
No, I don't think so. That's
Okay.
basically cheating.
Well, I mean, you can do it.
Considered
You can do it in game in
On PC, yeah.
Jeebus is saying that with an Elite controller you can.
with an Elite controller only.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hang on, but is that Xbox accessory software or whatever the same one we have on PC? that
Yeah,
comes
that's the
with
real
controller? You
question.
can't bind macros with that. At
Well,
least.
essentially,
Last time
like,
I checked, you couldn't.
essentially, like, what I'm trying to say is that, I feel like console players need to understand the game to a greater extent, so that way we could have more unity with our communities.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of needed. If crossplay were to be implemented, I would like it to be released with no option to opt out, and then introduce an option to opt out later.
Okay.
For how long? Just
An update
I don't know.
cycle. An update cycle. So like whatever our update cycle is, like what, 2 months usually, because they do it like half
Yeah.
season.
sure. I
Okay.
definitely want an opt out, not an opt in.
Yeah.
Because
No
people will
opt-in,
not
no
even
opt-out.
know that thing is
Yeah.
because you need an opt out, not an opt in. That is
Yeah.
paramount, I think.
I think adding it post launch is a better alternative, because like it's like, maybe people could start complaining about the right things, especially I think console players need to start complaining about the right things
Exactly. Oh,
Yeah.
that is.
instead of and then playing against PC players will obviously I hope help console players realize that they're complaining about the wrong stuff. Like, how much of a disadvantage is that input delay, right?
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
opposed to the
And it's
FPS.
not the 30 frames. That's one thing that grinds my gear. It's
Right.
just they just want the
You
60
know.
FPS, as if that would magically fix anything. They still have on console games that run on 60 FPS, but all that does is like break the 100 millisecond input delay mark. Like, it won't have 110 milliseconds, but just 90.
Yeah.
It's basically all that will do. I mean, the input delay will still be there. It's on the console itself. It's not the game running on 60 FPS. It's a console that has 80 millisecond input delay on the dashboard. That is the issue.
Yeah,
not the game.
I think
And the 60 FPS won't fix shit.
Yeah, I think the biggest misconception with FPS is they're taking what 30 FPS essentially inhibits, which is smoothness in visuals, and conflate that with playing on a monitor or on a TV instead of a monitor or something like that, because of the input delay. Even if the animations are smoother, which 60 FPS would help with that. I mean, I use a 240 hertz monitor, and I see the difference between 165 and 240 in terms of how smooth the game is. But I can use it effectively because there is so little input delay, and it's because the monitor I'm using is the 1MS, but most people who are playing on console are going to be playing on a television, which even if the television...
I play on a 60 FPS monitor.
Yeah.
And I've won tournaments.
Yeah, I think...
I've done the tests between console and PC and the input delay and all that. I mean, we're still on PC with my one. I said that like 30 millisecond input delay or something. So we still have something, but it's nothing compared to the 150 plus you might have on an old TV.
Yeah.
That is insane.
So frames is a problem, but frames is not the problem. The biggest problem is how you play the game. Like if you're using a television, even if the television has game mode, it's still there's still a significant difference as far as I'm aware. I had a cousin who was interested in For Honor, and he knew that I played, and he wanted me to show him how to play. And I was playing on Xbox or PS4, sorry, and he was playing on a television. I've never used a controller before, but I kind of got used to it. And then I went into duels to show him how to play Warden, and I was getting light spanned by Shigoki because I could not parry. Like I would input my parry, and it would be I would be basically inputting a buffered attack. It was just so terrible. I'm like, I promise I'm not this bad at the game to where I can't parry a Shigoki light spam. But the input delay was just so bad. Wireless controller, television, like it's just terrible. It's just terrible. So
I was shocked.
Go ahead.
When I tested the tests, I went to my brother-in-law and I don't know. I pressed the button and then nothing happened. Now it did. It was honestly horrible. I had problems just comboing attacks just because I would press at the wrong time.
Yeah.
It was absolutely horrible. I never thought it would be that bad. But yeah, that was at the worst possible setting, like non-game mode and horrible.
Right. Now you imagine that, right? You imagine that. And then the PC players are somehow beating the people that have played with that for years.
Yeah.
And I just like that to me is just baffling. It doesn't make sense. Like there must be some like knowledge disconnect for console players where there's just something missing, and I feel like that needs to be addressed. And I feel like crossplay will help address that, hopefully. So that's why I want crossplay, and I want it to be like have no opt-in or out function for at least a little bit, for a small amount of time. So that way, like, you know, people can actually start complaining about hopefully the right things. You know, like maybe people could start complaining about, hey, wait, I'm playing Orochi and I can't do anything to someone that's externaling me, and I can't do anything in general, and the character's horrible. Maybe they'll start complaining, and maybe Orochi might actually get fixed. Because, you know, once
honestly,
console players...
Kawhi, if I can interject here for a moment, you don't even need that limited period of time to disable the crossplay. You just need to make it an opt-out feature, and like half the player base wouldn't give a shit about turning it off. Like in the new COD, for example, it's like crossplay, and that is opt-out between controller and mouse and keyboard. And of course, there being an FPS, mouse and keyboard kicks the shit out of controller most of the time. But over half the player base, according to the latest stats from Infinity Ward, don't turn off crossplay. They just leave it.
Yeah, that's true. That's a fair point.
And it's the same thing with like a lot of countries now switching from opt-in to opt-out organ donation. Just that tiny change. It's like people are lazy. I mean, you'll know, Sarissa, you study psychology. Like people are naturally don't like doing things unless they absolutely have to.
I want to quit. Oh yeah, the option in my video that I made. A lot of people, they want to play with the other consoles like PS4, play with Xbox, vice versa, but no one wants to play against PC. Would you allow them to opt out specifically, like platform based? Or,
no.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But
no.
Yeah, They don't want to face PC. Like the overwhelming majority was scared of PC apparently.
So kind of what it kind of sounds like with Kwai, your argument for it is that there is this huge disparity between what a PC can do and what a console player can do, and because of that disparity, crossplay should be enabled from consoles to PCs because it would hopefully unify the community, or at least show the console players that the issues that they're talking about, that they complain about, are not actually the issues that are actually prevalent. Am I understanding correctly? Okay, so then I'll bring in another argument that I heard from Crack when he was talking about that on his stream, and he does not think that the crossplay should happen because of how input delay works and because of how everything is worked. That there would need to be a fundamental change in order for it to be effective.
Wait, who are you talking about this with?
Crack.
I mean, in order for it to be balanced, yes, but crossplay has never been balanced in any game. There's no game where crossplay is balanced.
Rocket League.
Rocket League is the only exception. Actually, wait, no, isn't PC just better? Because
never played.
All the pros play on PC.
I think the pros are a split between controller and mouse and keyboard. I think.
No. They're that's entirely different. They all play on PC though. But they do play, the controller is actually much better.
Oh, Rocket League. Sorry, I thought you were talking about controller input stuff. Okay, my bad.
No. I'm talking about the actual crossplay itself, like the actual crossplay function. There's never been a mutually inclusive crossplay. They just can't, because in no game there's no game where crossplay just works and is fair. You look at Fortnite, the PC players are always dominating. And
are we including PvP only?
Yes, obviously.
PvP only, okay.
If you take Dauntless and that shit, I mean, yeah, that works, I guess. But I
guess the only possible one you have is Halo, the current Halo that's out, because there's a bug with PC, so you can't get your frames up to the same amount as console for some reason.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay, so you basically see the hindrance of that disparity to be useful in terms of improving how console players view the game. So then, what about then from just a gameplay perspective? Is crossplay worth it from the gameplay perspective, or are people going to opt out as soon as they realize I'm playing against PC players? I know I'm not going to be able to do anything. See you later.
Considering the community, yes, they are, because let's be realistic. People opt out of my games that are on PC. I'm sure console players are going to opt out of not playing against PC.
You think the second they notice how short the queue times get, all of a sudden you have 10-second queues, 15-second queues? I think they will.
People would like that.
I think it's an incentive, but I don't know if once they actually get into the game, if it's going to keep them in. I kind of agree with Kwai on that. It already happens on PC. I think maybe if you don't have any kind of symbol that says this person's Xbox, this person's PS4, this person's PC.
They absolutely have to.
You'd have to, yeah.
It is. Otherwise, you can't just guess. No.
I mean, actually, do you really need to?
Yes, I think that's actually
most games don't do it.
Yeah, most games do have some kind of indicator.
Yeah.
Like in Fortnite, for example, if you're in a group and you have somebody who has an Xbox, that'll have the symbol. PS4, they'll have the symbol. I know in Call of Duty they do.
But in game.
Yes,
like
if when you open the
in game.
No, I'm talking
scoreboard.
like when you open the scoreboard, is that a thing in most games?
Yeah. Usually,
yeah.
Rocket League I know has it. Sea of Thieves doesn't.
The primary
Thieves doesn't have it.
The primary reason
I don't know.
The primary reason for those being displayed and labeling players as that is because for the common layman, if they like for instance get bodied by someone on a different platform and try and Xbox message them or PlayStation message them fuck you, and the message doesn't go through, they're wondering why is going on. It's very much you need to know what platform someone on, so you know what kind of communication you have with them. Okay. So that is one of the primary reasons.
So then I think this is then a mindset issue. I think this is just a mindset issue for the players who play from console to PC, or the matchmaking mindset to like a competitive mindset. That seems like what the biggest problem is. If people are going to see that I'm on console, this is a PC player, I'm going to get destroyed. See it later. And it's the same thing if like you run into a 4-stack, like if you run into like raw stack
Dodge
with
life is
other
real.
people, like people just dodge because they don't want to play. To me, that just sounds like it's an issue with the community and the mindset of the community over an issue with the game.
Obviously.
Yeah. It's not a For Honor issue. It's a game issue, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
One thing I will say that...
Go ahead.
You finish. I've got a long diatribe, so you finish your bit first.
I actually lost my place.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So with it being a mindset issue, there's just not much that can be done about this, because I had a few episodes back, I had Spaniard, Crack, and Kai on, and we talked about this. The problem, like we had. I had Span on because of Reddit, and I wanted to have a Reddit mod because Reddit gets the memes because the mindset is just terrible on the competitive subreddit. There are so many resources to help change people's mindsets. You have freeze videos, you have crack videos, you have all these different people who will show you how the game works from different perspectives and help you understand why you're losing or help you understand why something is happening. I just don't know how you can really fix that. Like, you can't force people to do anything. So is like with introducing crossplay and like with Kawaii's reasoning for doing it is to force people to see like what the problem is. I don't know if it would necessarily function like that, how you're wanting it to function. I think I don't know. I'm not convinced it's a good idea to do console to PC, just because the game disparity and then the mindset of the community. It doesn't seem like it could handle it.
The issue is looking at it. The way I'm looking at it is I'm looking at it from a thing of it's going to happen, because from the way that it looks from the message from the CEO, right?
Yeah,
it's going to happen, right? The issue is, how is it going to happen? That's more the issue that I'm concerned.
Yeah, I have one note on what Kawaii said specifically. I'm a little bit hesitant to agree, mainly because I play a lot with casual players on both platforms, like friends who are just coming into For Honor, or like people in matchmaking. Like, I'm a weird person. I use LFG things to play with random people in For Honor. Sometimes when I'm bored and like I can't get in contact with anyone. Yeah, I know. And with the amount of people that I talk to from all different kinds of backgrounds, one universal fact has come up for me. There is a surprisingly high amount of people that do not give a shit about the kind of things we're discussing right now. Like the fact that we're on a podcast right now for Honor, and the fact that everyone listening right now or watching is listening and watching to a For Honor podcast about very specific niche issues already puts you in a pretty high percentile. There is a very, very high amount of people who just play the game casually for fun and don't give a shit about that kind of thing. And even when I talk to people who are playing like COD Modern Warfare as well, when I'm casually chatting with people, like, what do they think about the cosplay? They're like, what the fuck's cosplay? Cosplay? Crossplay. And it's like, oh, I talk to them like, yeah, you can play with different platforms. They just kind of go, oh, cool. So for as much of a valid point that Kawaii has, potentially, that you could that might be backwards and forwards on that, I think it may be null and void to an extent, because simply, people just won't give that much of a shit unless they are read up and educated on the matter.
Right. My main idea here is, right, people go, someone from console goes against PC, they get blocked the entire time. It's never happened to them before, right? They get blocked or parried, everything. Like they're playing a Orochi or something against a PC stack or something, and they're playing a Orochi and they can't do anything. And then they're going to complain about the fact that they can't do anything, because everyone would do that, right?
Yeah, but are they going to look to the
platform
first?
Yeah.
That's the real question. Are they going to look to the platform or the character, right? And they're always regardless of whether they look to the platform or the character, at least they're going to look to one. And hope if there's a chance they will look to the character. And I'm willing to take that chance for a couple months and then give them the opt-out function. And that's my take on it. Just give them the chance. If they get it wrong, whatever, they can opt out in a little while. If not, then fuck.
You think there's gonna be some spite from them once the new gen comes out? Like, oh, now we have a proper hardware. Now we're gonna show those PC players. You think
And then
that's
they can opt back in, and then they'll get.
No. I think it won't come before the new gen consoles. To be honest, I don't think it will come anytime soon.
maybe.
But yeah,
maybe
you think
they'll-
that's one thing? I don't know.
Maybe.
Do I give them that much credit? Will they have that in them?
I wanted
Will
to
they be so
mention that
angry?
because that was going to go into the second point I wanted to talk about. So we're talking about a lot of cross-play stuff right now, but there's a second element to this, and that's the idea of cross-save. And now this is something which could be implemented in theory very fast, because it's the idea of cross-save is just you get all of your stuff, you maintain a single account across platforms, and this is something that Bungie has done successfully with Destiny 2, which Shadowkeep and Destiny 2 New Light. Their cross-save system is fantastic. Yes, you can't cross-play on Destiny 2, but you get all your stuff. You get all your stuff across platforms. You select one platform to be your anchor platform, and then that disseminates out into everything else, and then it goes in lockstep. And I saw some discussion in chat about Warframe. Warframe had account cloning for a little bit between PC to the console launches of like when it was launched for PS4, then Xbox, then Nintendo Switch, but that not cross-save. If Warframe, for example, had cross-save, that'd be huge, because then you get all of your weapons, your armor, and all your stuff together, marching forward continuously. And in For Honor, cross-save could be a nice middle ground to start with, just to get people introduced to the idea of a cross-platform community, basically. Because then, for example, Crack is primarily a console guy. Before he came to PC, he's got a lot of hours on console, and he's probably got a nice bit of stuff on there. And like,
imagine Rave stuff.
Yeah,
Rave. Yeah, and then
the Hero Series 1 tournament winner gets all his stuff from console.
Yeah, and then with me, I play on console with friends sometimes, like IRL friends, but although my primary platform is PC, this is where I've got like my Twitch drops, this is where I've got all my weird, like, fancy, dumb influencer shit. And like, I'd want to be able to use that on there as well. I want to use my executions, my rep level, that kind of thing, because I'd also like my rep level to transfer too, because the amount of times I get yelled at on console because my account's like a rep 30, 40-ish, but I'm playing like a rep 160 because I'm like a rep 160, I'm technically smurfing, even though I'm not intentionally smurfing.
right.
So it's like being able to
Smurfing
have your
doesn't
rep
matter in For
transfer.
Honor in general because the matchmaking is just so bad. But go on.
Matchmaking notwithstanding, though, please. I know it's a garbage fire, but cross save would be very, very, very useful just to introduce that idea, and that's something that could be done very quickly. Like, I agree with like Freeze that we will not be seeing cross-play until the minimum next generation of console, because you've got to be able to hit 60 and lower input delay to make it feasible to play against PC. And then
I mean,
I
I think all the competitive players who play on console or who transfer from PC to console would like that, so that way they can get their optimal feats and executions.
Yeah,
because optimal executions are needed.
Yo, let's get Noah C in here, dude. Let's get the matches that we all deserve to watch, dude. Huh?
I thought he quit.
I have no idea. All I know is every time he's in For Glory, it's always an interesting time.
Dude, I love Noah
Lord.
C. Don't hate on that man. I love him.
I'm just saying, like Noah C. We're waiting. We're just waiting. Crossplay happens.
Oh,
we'll get those duels that he wants. You know.
There needs to be a pump.
No, he wouldn't. He bought a PC.
Yeah, but he doesn't. Does
then
he
said
even?
he was going to join Scrims and then never played on his PC.
True.
Oh my god. Cerezu, you need to get a podcast between Noah C, Ludi Lou, and Legion.
What would we discuss? That would be the thing. I don't know.
That will be for you to worry about, not me.
Okay.
You discuss Legion's tier list. There you go. You discuss Legion's tier list, and you discuss how good Simba is.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Simba is John Who, just in case.
Yeah, for those who don't know.
Yeah, Simba
is
is John.
I've
Not
heard that, yeah.
not Sunday, not not Sunny Day or whatever. Simba. He chose Simba.
He chose Simba.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
just
To be fair,
discuss-
I thought
discuss Legion
George
tier-
was dumb, and that caught on pretty quickly.
It did catch on pretty quick.
I love George. Like the first
love
time
him.
I heard it, I loved it.
Yeah, I thought George was completely stupid. I thought Legion was getting lazy, but then it caught on. I was like, oh, okay, I'm a bit more into this.
Listen,
now.
they all catch on because they're Legion names. That's just how it works.
Fair point.
Yeah. Okay. So if you guys have questions you want to ask, go ahead and put them in chat. That's all the topics I wanted to cover. Unless you guys wanted to cover more things about anything we talked about. Are you guys good? And all that.
I'm fairly good. I
Okay.
have my time to soapbox about Spectator and stuff,
Okay.
so I'm happy.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, if there are questions you guys want to ask, go ahead and ask them. So while we're waiting, if there are any questions, do you guys want to do any plugs for like your Twitch or YouTube or anything? I also have commands.
Freeze is the
Yeah,
only one
sure.
who actually
I'll do
benefits
it,
from
I'll do it.
plugs.
Yeah,
I don't know. I do, I guess. Yeah.
yeah. Go
I
ahead.
don't. It's FKK Freeze on YouTube.
Perfect. I do have. I also have commands for everybody as well.
Oh, you do.
But
Yo,
Perfect. Thank you.
Pog.
Cheers, man.
You don't have mine, do you?
yeah, I do. What do you mean?
Oh fuck! Damn it!
I
I
didn't.
wanted to be left out and then make fun of you for it, but you know.
You can make fun of me for me not getting your Twitter or Freeze's Twitter. I got
No,
Freeze's
easy.
Twitch and YouTube, but not his Twitter. All right, dude. Whatever.
Easy.
I follow Freeze. Go to my Twitter. Follow me, obviously, and then
Wait,
go
how
and
do you not
follow
have Freeze's
Freeze.
Twitter? What
I have.
the-
I just forgot. Okay, dude. I don't need this from you. I don't need that. I don't need this.
I don't post.
How do you have
notifications stuff,
Verb's Twitter
anyways.
but not Freeze's Twitter?
Because I've had
Because
Verb
I'm
on 3 times.
on Twitter. Yeah, I
Alright.
get privilege. This is my hat trick appearance.
True.
Yeah, true. I see.
Shout out to Jeebus. He wants me to shout him out, apparently.
Well,
Really not.
imagine shouting Jeebus out,
Jeebus a
dude.
shout out. Don't give him any attention.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Shout out to Danko as well.
Pog. Yeah. Can Verb never show up again? No. Verb. I will ask
Yes.
Verb back on the show at some point.
Yo, fuck you, Jeebus.
Yo, no, shout out to Pete.
Mook.
Yeah, dude.
Yo, I want Pete Mookstellion back.
Yo.
dude.
Yes.
Does anyone actually have some
Where's
contact with
Pandigo?
them?
I miss Pandigo. He was a lad.
What were you gonna say, Freeze?
Does anyone still have contact with them?
Oh,
With Pete Mookstellion? I have no idea.
Sellian, whoever.
Jarl came back recently.
true.
Yeah, I heard. I noticed.
You noticed. You definitely heard. I bet.
I heard. Yeah.
Break your legs
Sounds
off your
familiar.
ass.
Oh, there we go. That's really. Yeah.
Listen, Jarl
Sorry
comes
about
back.
that.
Jarl comes back. His own character has been released in the game in the form of George. I mean, he's shit, but you know, it's Jarl in character form.
Wait, is Jarl a homeless man IRL or something? Like what?
No, he's just a crazy person from Florida, just like Jormungandr.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, they're both Florida man.
Okay.
Can
Can
we shout out?
Freeze's boomer dad for
Boomer
voices?
dad for
Oh my
voices.
god. Yeah. Almost every time I've looked at chat, I just see somebody say Freeze is a boomer. Omega
Yeah,
lol
he
or
looks like a
something.
boomer.
I keep hearing that.
Freeze is a boomer.
To look this old, really.
Wow.
I look this old. Always say I look so young for my age. And then here we are.
I'm
Listen,
sorry.
I'm
You
gonna
know
be
what?
honest.
If I'm
in the-
Thank you. You look like a younger Gordon Ramsay. Like I'm sorry, I just can't get that image out of
His
my head.
leathery skin already.
If
Jesus.
I am in the room, no one gets to make any claims about looking young. I'm sorry.
Yeah, somebody did call you 13, like halfway
Yeah.
through.
Yeah,
I saw
you
that.
do look like you're 13.
Yes.
At least you guys don't look like a cartoon character, so there you go.
Yeah, but it looks like this cartoon character has hair, so he's got something. Is it
I mean,
Verbosity?
oh, no one's seen a pic of me.
It's true.
It's true. Have you ever seen the live-action Scooby-Doo movie?
Which
Anyway,
one? There were multiple,
Live-action
but yes.
There were
Any
more-
of them. I look like Shaggy from that. That's what I look like.
Ah.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah, that's what I look like.
All right.
Pog.
I don't have a webcam. I think there's a pic of me, but it's the only pic of me is like infested with with what are they called? Like the mouse pointers or whatever they're called.
Oh, cursors.
Cursors. They're infested with them because it became immune.
Ah, right.
Oh yeah, there is an old clip of me with Cam.
I have a nude
It
of
is.
Verb Monka.
What? I have not provided nudes to
I'm
anyone.
pretty
I
sure
assure
that's actually legal.
you.
Yeah, for
POS.
all
FBI,
right.
open up.
Yes, yeah.
Yikes.
Wait, no, I have proof of that. If Jeebus actually had one of me, I'm fairly sure his eyes would have melted out of his skull. So the fact that he's typing in chat confirms he doesn't have one of me.
It's too hot for human eyes to bear witness to.
Exactly.
It's like the Ark of the Covenant. You just
There we go.
open up the file and just.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, we should probably end this. We're
yeah.
going off the rails quick.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like anybody is typing any questions. So we can just call it here. Thank you guys for being part of episode 7. I appreciate it. We will definitely have to do this again. This podcast went 3 hours, so I appreciate everybody who stuck around. Usually they are not this long, but I am happy that they were this long because I like free-flowing discussion like this. I like giving people the opportunity to talk about stuff. But yeah, we will call it here.